What's going on, fellow A-Plusers? It's your host, Adam Perez. We're back once again with a brand new episode of A-Plus Hero Report, your weekly stop for your Marvel, DC, television, and movie news, streaming live for you guys today on this beautiful Sunday afternoon, wherever you guys certainly are. We got 6 incredible topics we're going to be getting down into for you guys today. We got Joseph Quinn, who just recently got cast as Johnny Storm in the Fantastic Four, discussing the script a little bit. We definitely have some Star Wars news as some of the stars of the Acolyte are talking about some of their lightsaber training. We also got some huge Furiosa Mad Max news for you guys. Keanu Reeves in Sonic 3 also, plus a ton more, guys. So we'll see you on the other side. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another episode of A-Plus Hero Report, wrapping up your weekend with some of the hottest topics in movies and television. It's your boy, Adam Perez, joined by none other than good old Stuart Branscombe. What's up, Stuart?
What's up? What's up? Not much. How are you doing?
I'm excellent, man. I'm excellent. My little boy's hanging out with grandma today. They went to church this morning. The girlfriend is working right now. So it's just me and the dogs and everybody that's certainly watching us right now for our episode. So I'm looking to get into some topics today, y'all. We got 6 incredible topics. We're going to kick off the show with some honorable mentions, topics that didn't quite make the cut, but we felt you guys certainly deserve to know about them. And then towards the end of the episode, we're definitely going to get to your guys' live viewer questions. But I'm good, man. You know, anytime I got my coffee in hand, Stuart, it's a good day. You know what I'm saying? What about you?
Same. And that's actually surprising. I actually thought I was going to come into your report today super low energy because so basically yesterday, obviously 420, but I also had to close that day. So my plan was that morning to get just a little bit stoned to celebrate 420, but then chug a crap ton of energy drinks so I'd have enough energy to get through work and then crash immediately afterwards. The plan worked, but I kind of expected that I was going to wake up because whenever I have too much sugar, I basically get sugar hangovers is the best way to describe it. When I have too much. But this is one of those rare times where I had 3 energy drinks. I had a NOS and 2 Red Bulls, to keep me up during work. But I feel totally fine this morning. This is rare, and I'm happy about it.
I'm glad you're in good energy, man. Yeah, I celebrated 420 a little bit, usually towards the tail end of my evening, so I definitely got that good sleep in today, for sure. I did have to wake up around my regular schedule, though. I did have my alarm on because I had to get the kiddo up, had to get him fed, made him some waffles this morning because his grandma came pretty early to go ahead and pick him up, so I had to make sure he was ready to certainly go. But I got some good sleep in, man. So I got my energy going. I just wanted that coffee for that extra boost today.
Oh, yeah.
But hopefully it should be a good one, man. How are you and your newly fiance doing?
Oh, we're doing absolutely incredible right now. In fact, funny you ask, we're actually going to be picking up the actual ring today, since the one that I used to propose to her was just kind of a really cheap temp ring. The actual good one that is going to set me back a little bit. I say that as a joke. But no, that one is the one we're picking up today, and we're both super excited.
Can I ask you a personal question? How many checks would you say is this ring taking you?
Oh man. Theoretically I could have it all paid off with just 2 paychecks, I think. Maybe 3, but obviously then I wouldn't be able to pay rent, all these other
things. No, I guess you got it.
So theoretically I could do it fast if I didn't have other bills to worry about.
No, I wasn't harping on you about that. I was just kind of curious. Because I remember when my friend Jonathan proposed, he had mentioned something about the idea of it was like two checks worth or something like that.
Oh yeah,
so definitely have to split that up. But yeah, I totally get it, man. That's cool.
I think like the generic thing, and I hope that not everyone does this because there are some people that can afford to do this. Not everyone can, but the generic thing is it's supposed to be a quarter of your yearly salary. That's how much you spend on the ring, and it's like
that's what I hear.
No. Sorry, I need that quarter salary to live.
Yeah, exactly. I have to exist, y'all. So but that's cool, man. I'm glad everything is going well with you guys this week. Let's see who's in our live chat with us. Look, guys, as we go through our stories, this is while we certainly have our opinions on a lot of these topics, we always want to know your guys' thoughts. So whatever we talk about, if you agree, disagree, if you have your own take on some of the articles what we break down, we always want to know your guys' thoughts. These are just our A plus opinions, but we always want to know yours. So let your thoughts be known in the comment section box below. Feel free to leave some likes if you like. Retweet this if you're watching us over on Twitter. Let people know A Plus Hero Report is on. If you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. And again, feel free to always clip these videos, share these videos. We definitely want to go ahead and spread the word about our YouTube channel. So your guys' support definitely is what runs our channel. So we definitely appreciate it. Let's give some shout outs to some people that we know are definitely watching us live, especially if you're watching us live, man. Hit that like button for sure. Enrique, what's up, Enrique? Good to see you, man. So the official trailer for Transformers 1 Origin movie is here. Yes, I'm hoping Stuart got the chance to check it out because we will be talking about it today. Also, Knuckles series is dropping on Paramount Plus on Friday. And to promote the show, Nickelodeon is going to premiere the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 sequel on Friday. Oh, wow. They're going to actually play it. Nice. On Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I have yet to see the sequel for Sonic, so I might jump on board that, especially with the news that we're going to be talking about today. And then he says, finally, it's just confirmed that the original storyboard artist of SpongeBob is set to return to create the upcoming
I heard about that.
Search for SquarePants movie, and will arrive in 2025. Oh, you've heard about that one?
Yeah, they actually have not just the storyboard artist, but there's like a lot of crew members they have that worked on the original series up until the 2004 SpongeBob movie. Apparently, they're all coming back for this movie.
Badass. That's pretty cool. I always love when they can get the original creators involved. What else we got? Blossom in the house. What's up, Blossom? We appreciate you coming through as always. Good old Ram Jam is here. And of course, we got Marcelino in the house, man. He says, I saw the most recent Chucky episode, and oh boy, this changes the entire Child's Play universe. Can't wait to see how it affects season 4 or the next movie. I'm just surprised that they're in season 3 of a Chucky series, to be honest with you. I think when they originally announced it, I was like, I pretty much rolled my eyes, but I've been hearing some really great things. If you are a Chucky fan, or if you were just a fan of horror and whatnot, I have heard some really great things about the Chucky series. So yeah, pushing season 4, and they're going to be getting a movie hopefully soon.
I think moving it to a TV show was probably smart, because if you watch like the last 2 or 3 Chucky movies, it definitely felt like, and I'm not talking about the one with Mark Hamill, but like the ones that are like part of the original continuity, like it definitely felt like they kept changing their mind of what direction to go in. So I think like just switching it to a TV show so you have like one definitive direction for the character was probably a smart move.
Yeah, probably. And I was not the biggest fan of the I think I remember seeing the most recent Child's Play movie. It was kind of like a reboot for a modern day. I don't necessarily know if I was super thrilled with it. So after that, when they announced the idea of a Chucky series, I really wasn't necessarily on board with it or really cared so much for it. But if anything, I would assume that this probably feels significantly different than the movie itself. But I might have to check it out sometime.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tony Robinson. What's up, Tony? Good to see you in here, man. He says, "What's up, y'all?" Look, guys, it looks like we got like 35 viewers over on Twitter. We got 7 viewers over on YouTube right now. Look, if you're part of that 7 in YouTube, hit that like button, man. It really does go a long way, helps that algorithm. And for you 37 watching this via Twitter, hit that like button, man. Retweet. We definitely want to continue to grow this show here in any way that we certainly can.
Don't you mean X? I'm kidding.
yeah, I guess maybe that's what it is. Maybe people are offended I'm not using the term X. Tony Robinson says Chucky is the most consistent of all the slashers. It's definitely been around the longest. Would you agree with that, Stuart?
Consistent. I mean, actually, yeah, because most slasher movies, they end up doing like the thing of just like either retconning or just pretending the other movies don't exist. Whereas Chucky, at least that one has had a consistent continuity, like from the first movie and up to even this current TV show. And then also like consistent in terms of his character development, or the kind of character he is. Yes, I feel like he is definitely the same character we've seen since the first movie.
Yeah, no, I totally would agree with you there. But let's see here. All right, guys. With that out of the way, now we giving some shout out and praise to everybody joining and watching us live. Stuart, let's get into our first segment. You ready?
Hell yes.
And we're going to get into our honorable mentions section for you guys today. Stuart, do you happen to have any honorable mentions by any chance?
Not really, but I will say this. I just finished Invincible season 2,
Oh.
and I can't believe the show crossed over with Batman, Spider-Man, and The Walking Dead, and no one told me about this.
I did see an image or a quick little clip. It wasn't the full clip, but it was Invincible like on a rooftop, like bloody or something, or maybe he had like a bloody nose. I can't remember what it was, but he was talking to somebody with it, like with a dark cape on, and people were just like, is this a crossover with Batman?" I definitely caught
Yeah,
that.
it was definitely Batman, and then they couldn't I'm assuming they weren't allowed to use Spider-Man, but they basically had a Spider-Man-like character fighting a Doc Ock-like character,
Oh wow.
voiced by the guy that voices Spectacular Spider-Man. So, it was
What?
clearly like a variation of Spider-Man, they just weren't allowed to say Spider-Man. It had to look different enough so they could get away with it, and then I'm just going to assume when he goes into the zombie universe, that was the Walking Dead universe because it's Robert Kirkman, so I
Ah.
don't know why he would just use a generic zombie universe. I'm just going to go with the headcanon that when he crosses into that universe, it's The Walking Dead.
I love it. I love it. But yeah, Invincible doing some big things. I haven't watched season 2 yet. I was a big fan of season 1. How did you like it compared to the first season?
Oh, about the same.
About
Like
the same?
both of them equally incredible, honestly. And it's surprising. I don't want to say they're gonna like redeem Omni Man or anything like that, but they humanize him though, which is very
Uh,
surprising. Something I did not expect them to do this season.
yeah, I was you think so does it make it look like his actions feel significantly different now that you learn a little bit more or what?
I wouldn't say they feel like his actions feel different, but like in terms of like what he was thinking when he was doing those
Doing him?
actions, yeah, that's kind of like the thing that makes it different is that there's a conscience there, which is something that you would have never expected after seeing that big battle between him and his son,
Yeah.
at the very end of season 1.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, man, I'm gonna have to check it out then for sure. Appreciate you letting us know about Invincible season 2. Real quick, shout out to Sam for certainly coming through. Also, today, if you hit that like button, Sam, too, if you haven't yet. What do you think about The Lord of the Rings: The War of Rohirrim? I know they at CinemaCon they announced that it was in fact dropping this year. I don't believe that they've shown any footage of it to the public aside from those that might have been in attendance at CinemaCon. If they did recently just drop a trailer or something somewhere, please let me know, man, because I've been wanting to see what it looks like. I haven't seen any of the animation coming out of it, but I would be really fascinated. And then Marcelino says Chucky only has one remake that's ignored and for the better. It also helped that aside from the remake, the creator of Chucky has been involved in every Child's Play film and TV show. Yeah, that definitely
Mm,
goes a long way for sure.
definitely.
Let's
I
see.
thought the
Uh,
remake was okay for what it was.
for what it was.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Some quick updates for you guys. What's the first one I want to tackle today? You know what? Let's go with this one. One Punch Man is in the news. They had recently, I want to say we had talked about this a couple of weeks ago. They had recently announced a writer attached, if I'm not mistaken. Well, they've actually enlisted new writers this week. One Punch Man now enlists Rick and Morty creator as the writer. So Rick and Morty creator Dan Harmon have been tapped to pen the long in development project. So they are in fact replacing the previously announced writers Scott Rosenberg and Jeff Pinkner from Venom and Jumanji: The Next Level. So they are bringing Dan Harmon in, and it looks like the Fast and the Furious director Justin Lin was in fact attached to go ahead and direct this One Punch Man film. So yeah, they do now have a writer set. So Justin Lin as director and Dan Harmon as the writer. So One Punch Man is inching ever so closely to actually becoming a reality, Stuart.
So is this going to be a live action movie?
Live action movie.
Wow. This
Yeah,
is one
live
of those
action adaptation.
this is one of those animes I would never have expected to like see, be adapted. At least not for a while. I wish them luck.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Justin Lin also has been rumored. I don't think it's been announced, but I think it's been rumored that he's attached to direct the new Spider-Man film, Spider-Man 4. But again, that is rumored. Again, I haven't heard any confirmation in regards to that, but I'm also hearing possibility of even Sam Raimi returning
Yeah,
to do to Spider-Man 4. So we'll see what actually happens.
that's the rumor that I've been hearing was the Sam Raimi coming into it.
Yeah. Next up, real quick, let's knock this one out. Pamela Anderson. I haven't heard from her in a while. She's joining Liam Neeson in Paramount's new Naked Gun movie. They recently announced it here this week. Cops and women do mix, and with that, we have Pamela Anderson joining Liam Neeson on the untitled Naked Gun reboot, which is set to release July 18th of next year. She has had some comedy chops here and there in some of the smaller roles that she's played in. It does say that she starred in titles like Scary Movie 3 and Superhero Movie, um, both satirical movies a la The Spirit of Naked Gun. So she's kind of played around in this field before, but just in this movie in general, Stuart, I just don't know what to make of it. Honestly, the idea of a Naked Gun reboot in 2024. Like I feel like the comedy worked during its time when the movie was originally released, but I guess there's a part of me that's just like, what are we gonna do with this now?
Yeah. I haven't seen any of the Naked Gun movies, so
Oh, really?
yeah, so I know that they're basically kind of like, similar to Airplane in
Yeah.
just being like kind of a funny, goofy comedy that's more of a satire of like, cop dramas. But I will say this with Pamela Anderson, that's an interesting choice for a star, just because I don't think I've seen her star in anything in a long time. Like she's definitely had a lot of cameo roles and like
Yeah.
small parts. But yeah, I'm interested to see how she does, I guess.
Yeah, I'm kind of. It's been a minute since I've seen her in anything, so we'll see how this turns out. What's up, Ram Jam? He says Pamela was the Tool Time girl in Home Improvement. Yeah, she definitely
Oh my
was.
gosh.
She definitely was. I missed that show.
I haven't seen that
Um,
show in hell long. I need to get back to that at some
yeah,
point.
it's been a minute for sure. And next up, The Witcher. This is somebody put Liam Hemsworth's face over Henry Cavill's here, as Liam Hemsworth is in fact set to take over the role of Geralt for season 4, which has in fact started production. The reason why we bring up this photo though is that they have officially, I should say, officially announced that season 5 of The Witcher will in fact be the end of the show. So they will, in fact, be wrapping up the Witcher series over on Netflix, which has been doing big things for quite a couple seasons. But with the departure of Henry, the arrival of Liam, I don't know if they're just wrapping up just as far as all the storylines from the Witcher books that they've been adapting. But they have mentioned that season 5 will, in fact, be the last season. So we've got 2 more seasons certainly to go. No release date yet. I don't believe on when season 4 is certainly yet to drop. But yeah, it should be here soon. I don't know how I'm feeling, man. I will just say, look, for Liam Hemsworth in general, I am kind of curious to see what he's going to look like in the role. It's hard for me to certainly picture him. That picture doesn't do him any justice, I'm sure, but we'll see how he actually looks as Gerald when it comes down to it. I just think it's really big shoes to fill when you're filling in for Henry Cavill. I think you're muted.
Even if Liam Hemsworth does an amazing job, it's the internet. They're still going to be pissed at him for taking over for Henry Cavill. So I wish him the best of luck, because those are some big shoes to fill. And even if you fill them just fine, it's Henry Cavill fans are too passionate sometimes.
Yeah, well, they are pretty passionate, and I love Henry Cavill. But we'll see how Liam does. Good luck to you, Liam, though.
Yeah, Henry Cavill's great. It's his fans that suck.
And then last but not least, everybody's favorite show right now, Fallout, has officially been renewed for season 2. Prime Video has picked up the acclaimed sci-fi series, which is expected to shift production to California, actually, for its second season. Everybody's loving this show, man. It says it's 94% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know what the audience score is, but I'm pretty sure it's relatively high. But I'm excited for this, man. I literally have only finished like 3 episodes of the show. But I've loved every part of it so far, so I'm really eager to see how this show wraps up. But I know you've had the opportunity to check it out. For those of you who missed it, Stuart did drop his series or his season 1 review for Fallout. It is currently up on our YouTube channel. Check it out if you haven't checked it out for yourselves.
Mm-hmm. If you're a fan of the Fallout games, you owe it to yourselves to watch the show. And even if you're not a fan of Fallout, I think it tells the story of of that universe well enough for like any newcomer to come in and totally be able to follow along.
And I've been hearing that the games have been doing really well sale wise. Like people have been picking up like Fallout 4. I don't know if they've been. There was like I think it was either Fallout 3, Fallout 4, and maybe New Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember, but I have heard that sales for Fallout have been climbing.
That's really funny. So I'm not the only one who's been replaying it.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure you're not. If anything, it makes me want. Like I've never played a Fallout game. I've just watched people play it, but it really makes me want to go ahead and play it. I need to get me a new system first. Listen, Sony, Xbox, if you're listening, I wouldn't mind sponsoring you guys. If you want to ship me a console, I would absolutely love it.
I recommend you could actually get it on your computer off of Steam. Because it's an old game, it should run perfectly fine, but it's only like $10 if you get
Okay.
Fallout 3.
Okay. Shout out to the 86 people watching us over on Twitter right now. Look, guys, hit that like button over on Twitter. Please hit that retweet. Let people know that we're certainly live as we're going to break down some movie and TV topics for you guys today. To our 6 people watching us over on YouTube, hit that like button, man. Really does go a long way if you haven't done so yet. Sam, he said, I think God of War will be an Amazon Prime Live action series coming soon. Yeah, they have picked it up. I don't know when it's going into production, but yes, God of War will in fact be a TV series on Amazon Prime. I'm really looking forward to that, man. We've got some great video game adaptions to television lately. So hopefully that will continue the trajectory, because from Last of Us to now Fallout, there might be another one that I'm missing, but and now God of War upcoming. There's a lot of things to look forward to, man.
I just hope I get that the current Norse take on God of War is the current popular one. But that being said, I really hope they don't just like skip the Greek mythology setup that led to him kind of moving to like kind of Norse mythology. I really do want to see him take on Ares and have Ares like be the one that betrays him like in the video games.
Yeah, I think that I'm sure there'll be some aspects that they definitely stay true to. Marcelino says, I heard book readers are supporting Henry Cavill's decision to leave The Witcher because the writer doesn't respect the source material and
That's
wants to
what I
do their
heard
own
too.
thing. Which side do you fall under? I mean, I'm always for, respecting the source material, especially if you're going to be adapting things. So probably a good move on Henry Cavill's part, quite frankly. I haven't read the book, so I'm not for or against so much. But if you've got source material, yeah, definitely pull from the source material for sure.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Adam on that. I haven't read the books, but I think if it's so different that one of your main like actors wants to lead, that might be more on you. But
Yeah.
hard to say.
Ain't that the truth? Yeah, that might be more on you guys. But yeah, if anything, and we say this all the time, is like we know it's hard to adapt anything to television or to the big screen. It's sometimes it's not easy to adapt everything. So I understand the aspect of having to take some liberties for sure. But if you're capable of adapting it, definitely adapt it for sure. But all right, guys, we appreciate everybody's comments. Man, we got 91 viewers over on Twitter right now, or X, 10 over on YouTube. We got 1 over on Twitch. Yeah, man, hit that like button, guys. Share these videos. We want to continue to drive up this viewership content for sure. But Stuart, you ready to get into our main topics with me, man?
Always.
Let's do this. Coming with our first topic, we're going to start off in the MCU for you guys, as the Fantastic Four is in the news. I don't know if Joseph Quinn has been doing a round of some press, or if he's been going to conventions talking a little bit more about it now that he's been officially cast in this film. People are definitely asking him a ton of questions. And I think us as fans, while we certainly still have not heard too much about the development of the Fantastic Four movie, they are in fact fact scheduled to begin filming sometime this summer. If they haven't done so already, I believe probably maybe May or June, they'll probably start getting into production for the Fantastic Four. But Joseph Quinn this week had the opportunity to sit down and talk a little bit about not only the idea of like filling the shoes of the people that have played the Human Torch before you, like Michael B. Jordan and most importantly, Chris Evans, but also just his take on the script and really what kind of drew him in. And at this particular point in the development of Fantastic Four, listen, Stuart, I'm going to take any bits of information that I can get right now because I want to certainly help build this hype train and see how this movie certainly develops. But let's go ahead and dive into this article. This actually comes to us from Entertainment Weekly. As Fantastic Four star Joseph Quinn, it says, has big boots to fill as a Human Torch after Chris Evans' Fantastic Four. And he talks a little bit about his experience with watching Chris Evans' performance. But let's see what Joseph Quinn has certainly had to say. It says, but Joseph Quinn, who's taken over for Evans as Johnny Storm, tells Entertainment Weekly that he's a fan of the future Captain America's take on the flaming superhero in the film and its 2007 sequel. He says, I remember really enjoying Chris Evans' performance as Johnny in the previous films, and it felt like it would be a really exciting opportunity. I was absolutely signed up. Says the actor who will be seen in this summer's A Quiet Place Day One. When asked whether Evans' version of the character was on his mind when he auditioned, Joseph Quinn does clarify. He says, no. I mean, you're going to make it your own. Still, he adds, it's big boots to fill. I got to say, Stuart, real quick, before we even continue here, I think a lot of us could probably say we were big fans of probably Chris Evans playing as the Human Torch, as Johnny. Chris Evans just has that charisma, and that boy toy sort of mentality of like just being a charmer. And I thought he fit the role absolutely perfectly. I did have to do like a double take when they said Chris Evans set to play Captain America. I'm like, Johnny Storm, that guy, like that same dude. And it turned out to be absolutely great. But as much as I like Michael B. Jordan and his take, when I think of Human Torch, I immediately think of Chris Evans because I just thought he just absolutely nailed and owned that role. How did you like Chris as Human Torch?
No, I 100% agree with you. I actually think he did really great with that role. I think I've mentioned it before on the show. I don't hate the first Fantastic Four movie like a lot of other people do. I actually thought it was kind of fun.
It's got a rewatchability to it.
Yeah. And I think, his character in particular, it worked with what he was trying to pull off from the comic books. Johnny is a kind of hot-headed, pun intended, dude, which is why they give him that superpower. It's supposed to be the power matches, kind of his personality. And it makes sense that he was the one who kind of enjoyed the powers, whereas everyone else, absolutely saw it as a curse. He saw it as, oh, this is so cool. Look at us. We shouldn't be hiding. We shouldn't be ashamed of who we are, that kind of thing. Which even works, especially given that this was meant to kind of tie into the Fox X-Men universe. So, that actually kind of adds like that extra thing onto it. But that all being said, yeah, I think he did a good job. And like you, because of Fantastic Four and because of Scott Pilgrim versus the World, when Chris Evans was announced to play Captain America, I didn't think he was going to be able to pull it off. I thought that was the most bizarre choice they could have chosen. But now it's like, it's so funny to like look back at his early roles compared to the type of roles he plays now.
Yeah, I did like him in Scott Pilgrim too. Johnny's in the house. What's up, Johnny? Good to see you, man. Good old Nathan Moore certainly coming through. We appreciate you guys being able to make it this week. Joseph Quinn does go on to say, I knew that they'd be talking about making the Fantastic Four in the Marvel Universe for a while. I had a talk with director Matt Shakman, and it was very clear with the kind of people who they were attaching it to, what they were trying to do with it. There are aspects of it that are very much a singular thing and its own thing. He says for Quinn, appearing alongside that all-star cast was an important factor in taking the role. Working with Vanessa, Pedro, Evan, they're really consummate pros and brilliant in everything they're in. So I'm really looking forward to establishing this familial dynamic with them with Matt Shakman's guidance. I guess for me, if there's any question that I have, like, I do wonder how much time do these actors actually get to spend with each other. Like I wonder if it's like set in the Marvel Studios schedule, like we're gonna have like 2 weeks of just family dynamic time. We're just gonna have these four stuck in a cabin somewhere, going on a vacation together. Like I wonder how they build up sort of that connection, because chemistry is everything, especially when it comes to being a family. Now, these are great actors. Quinn is absolutely right. Some people may have an issue with who they might have picked for some of these roles, but the talent is definitely there for sure. And so I just wonder, like, are these actors just that good at sort of, I don't want to say faking, but performing a family dynamic, even if they haven't had the opportunity to spend that much time together? Like, if you have to go out for, fight training, is there family training that they decide to take for themselves? I am kind of curious how they build that dynamic.
If it were me as a director, I would try to encourage them to do some like kind of improv exercises, because I feel like the best way to get actors to bond is to let them do improv together, because then that's when they kind of tend to find what it is that kind of connects them as people as well as actors.
And then he also says, just as that familial aspect of the story drew Quinn to the role, he hopes it'll also attract audiences who might be growing tired of the genre. He says, with lukewarm responses to recent Marvel offerings like the Marvels and Quantum Mania, critics have wondered if audiences are experiencing so called superhero fatigue. And I thought this was an interesting take from him. He says, I think that with the story of the Fantastic Four, it feels like we want to get this right, Quinn says when asked about those concerns. There are aspects to it that are very different to other Marvel films. That felt very compelling to me. And again, going back to who's involved, Matt, of course, the director, I think is brilliant, and the cast. And I've read it, and the script is brilliant. It's really brilliant. I'm delighted to have this opportunity. He says superhero movies are about people. And if we're invested in the people and the characters and the peril and the spectacle, then that's why people go to theaters to watch films. We're not just in a penny, we're in for a pound with this one. We're going to go for it. So I thought that's some pretty encouraging words. And you want to start off with anything that really jumped out at you in that comment?
You know, so a lot of directors, it feels like recently, have been saying kind of the same thing of, oh, we know superhero fatigue's a thing, but our movie is going to be different. So because of that, I feel like I've heard this speech so many times, or like, we're doing something different that hasn't been done in the MCU before. And then you end up with, the Marvels. So what I'm saying is that, like, I like what he's saying. I just have heard it before. So I'm just not getting my hopes up too high. But yeah, so nothing specific that he said really stood out because of that, honestly.
When we I'm glad you brought up the Marvels, because I remember when the director Nia DaCosta came out and talked about it. I don't know if I heard really many people talking about the idea of the script is brilliant and then reiterating it. I remember seeing her talk about how fun and wacky the movie was, and I'm like, I don't know if you want to pitch the idea of the Marvels movie being wacky to me. But a couple things that will stand out. While you're absolutely right, there are definitely movies that utilize or say the same thing in a sense of like, our movie is going to be different. There are a couple things that I do appreciate that he focused on. It says, and when we're invested in the people and the characters and the peril, I love the idea that he leaves the idea of spectacle last.
Mhm.
And I say that because while I'm sure it's going to look great on screen and it's going to have sort of a very, dramatic action and whatever the case may be, and look great, whether it be in IMAX or Dolby, whatever the case may be, the spectacle is going to be there. But the fact that he didn't start off with, oh, it's going to be a big spectacle type of film, and he really focused on the idea of the people and the characters and the peril, sort of the situations that these characters find themselves in. That does stand out to me that he decided to describe it in that sense. And I think also the idea that he is calling the script brilliant. He clearly has big things to say about the director and the cast. I never expect these actors to come out and just straight up say, "Oh, this movie's going to be trash, guys. Be careful. You're not going to want to see this film." I do think when it comes to somebody like Joseph, I've never really known or remember seeing Joseph Quinn and other things. I don't want to say lie, but he seems to truly believe what he's saying in this regards.
Mhm.
So for that, I am kind of really looking forward to it. Um, I will say this. One thing that does fascinate me is like I remember Joseph Quinn when he got first announced that there was a lot of pushback against him being cast as Johnny Storm. And I do think it's important to remember, this is a different time period that we are dealing with. Maybe our modern day heartthrobs don't necessarily look like the same way they probably should have in the 60s. And I believe this movie is taking place during the 60s period of time. So there is a definite like look and personality trait that I think goes along with being sort of that hot-headed, egotistical heartthrob in the 60s. And when I think of Joseph Quinn, if you've ever had the opportunity to see him in a convention or in a question and answers panel, like he seems like he's the most shy dude I've ever seen. The guy that's just completely to himself. Like when I think of him playing Eddie Munson from Stranger Things, I'm like, that is not the same dude. Like sometimes you think they have the ability to just sort of exaggerate maybe their own kind of real life personalities into some of these characters. Joseph Quinn is not the Eddie Munson dude that you remember from Stranger Things. And so I do think that he has um, a really great attribute of becoming characters and really fully engulfing himself in these characters and just morphing himself into something that he's certainly not. And so for me, and I also would say too, to some people, he is certainly a heartthrob. I mean, when Stranger Things 4 came out, the girls were going crazy for this man as Eddie Munson. I'm sure there were so many Hellfire Club t-shirts sold that day when he debuted. And I remember going to a Fan Expo Dallas out here, and the Q&A panel was packed for this guy. And it was just girls screaming left and right for him, moms that stay home all the time out there cheering him on. I mean, this man is a heartthrob in his own right. And so it may not necessarily be the Johnny Storm and Human Torch that we envisioned or that we maybe had fan cast, but I can honestly see why Joseph Quinn was certainly cast in this particular role.
Oh yeah, no, casting wise, I think they nailed it with every single one of them. Personally, like obviously we'll have to wait and see how they do on the big screen, but as of now, I think Joseph Quinn was a really good choice for Johnny.
Yeah, I think so too. He wasn't my first choice. I mean, I don't even know if he was on my short list, to be honest with you. I was still rooting for Dacre Montgomery, who played the Red Ranger in Power Rangers, and he was in Stranger Things as Max's brother.
Oh, right, yeah.
I was kind of hoping that Dacre Montgomery would land that role, but I'll take Joseph Quinn, man, fresh off of Stranger Things success as well.
Mm-hmm.
Sam does say Joseph Quinn was in Game of Thrones in one episode. He played Coner, episode called The Spoils of War.
Ooh.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. Marceline says, didn't Joseph Quinn at one point have a mental problem shortly after Stranger Things 4 aired? I think Stranger Things co-stars were trying to comfort him as well. Maybe. He seems like he's a pretty to himself kind of, pretty quiet dude. I don't know Joseph Quinn in real life, but maybe there's a point there. I don't necessarily even know if he expected all the fame to come with playing that Stranger Things role at all. I don't think he expected that character to explode as much as it did.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, I try not to, because mental health can be like kind of a challenge to deal with. So I try not to hold it like against people if they have like a mental breakdown or something, assuming they don't go full Ezra Miller and start like tormenting other people. There's a difference there. But when someone has like a mental breakdown, I try not to hold that against someone.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Shout out to whoever did the fan art here, man, of Joseph Quinn as the Human Torch. I really dig this look, to be quite frank with you. But I'm excited for Fantastic Four, man. We don't have too much information, but I do think that Joseph Quinn's become a great sort of spokesperson and saying a lot of the right things. And so we'll see exactly how different and unique the Fantastic Four movie is when it drops. But we definitely want to know your guys' thoughts. We got 138 people watching us over on X or Twitter right now, man. Hit that like button, y'all. If you're watching us live today, hit that retweet. We definitely would appreciate it. For the 11 watching us over on YouTube, thank you guys so much for certainly coming through, man. If you haven't hit that like button yet, please do help that algorithm out. Get the word out that we're live right now, baby. You know what? Let's stay in the realm of Fantastic Four real quick, Stuart, because there is a rumor that recently dropped. And we're gonna get back to actually talking about the Silver Surfers real quick. I thought this was a pretty interesting rumor. Again, this is just a rumor that's recently dropped, but let me go ahead and pull this up. This comes to us from comicbookmovie.com. The Fantastic Four rumor to introduce Norrin Rad alongside Julia Garner's Shala Ball Silver Surfer, Stuart. So maybe fans of Norrin Rad don't have too much to worry about. It says it seems like Lakeith Stanfield may have let the cat out of the bag after all. In one of the most talked about casting announcements in recent history, we learned that Julia Garner from Ozark has joined the cast of Fantastic Four as a female Silver Surfer. I guess she's going to be playing the Shala Ball Silver Surfer from Earth X. That storyline. It says now insider Daniel Richtman. Again, I definitely believe a lot of the stuff that insiders like Jeff Schneider certainly says. Daniel Richtman, I do think, has a tendency of being kind of hit or miss. So again, take this as a grain of salt, as just a rumor. But he says insider Daniel Richtman is reporting that Norrin Rad will indeed be introduced alongside Shala Ball in the MCU. Has the role already been cast? In a since deleted social media post, Haunted Mansion and Atlanta star Lakeith Stanfield commented on Garner's casting by saying, "Thought it was going to be me, but IG." Interesting. He says, when Galactus came to devour their planet, Rad volunteered, yada, yada, yada. It remains to be seen if the movie will take inspiration from the comics when it comes to these characters, but another recent rumor claimed that there will be some connection between Franklin Richards and Galactus in the film. And if that is the case, if we are going with the Franklin Richards Galactus connection, if we are going with the idea of there being a Norrin Rad Silver Surfer as well as a Shala Ball, this feels like they are very much pulling this directly from the Earth X storyline that they had. Because if I'm not mistaken, in that comic book series, Silver Surfer Norrin Rad's Galactus perishes, dies, and they need a Galactus because he brings balance to the universe. And they wind up convincing Franklin Richards to advance his mutation and in turn becoming Galactus. And as Franklin Richards becomes the new Galactus, he then also gives Shala Ball, the lover of Norrin Rad, cosmic powers as well. And in the comic books, he has twin heralds. So he's got two Silver Surfer heralds, as you see in this particular image in here. So if these rumors continue to stay true, it definitely looks like they could be playing or pulling, I should say, from the Earth X storyline, which was a limited series over in the comic books.
Nice.
So yeah, we'll see if that comes to be true. What do you think about the idea, though, of twin heralds, or the idea of Norrin Rad being in here, Stuart?
Kind of the same thing I think about with having both Silver Surfer, Galactus, and possibly Doctor Doom in this movie. It feels like we got a lot going on here, which is great, if it can be pulled off. But we've seen examples like where suddenly, too many cooks in the kitchen, that kind of thing. Also, the big thing too is if you do too much in your first movie, then when it comes to the sequel, what do fans have to look forward to with the sequel when you've already kind of shot your load in the first movie? So, obviously wait and see how it all turns out. But as of now, it almost feels like a little bit too much going on. If this rumor turns out to be true. Because I kind of assumed when they announced it was going to be the female version of Silver Surfer that it was just because they wanted to wait a movie or two before introducing the more well known version of the Silver Surfer. But if they're going to be doing both in the same movie, just I don't know. I'm sure they'll be able to pull it off, but yeah, it just seems like a little bit too much.
Yeah, I will be kind of curious. If anything, this movie better not come in at like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Okay, like I'm gonna need this movie to be like 2 hours and 15 minutes, 2 hours and 20 minutes, maybe in 2:30, because there are elements that so far, while we haven't heard any real details about the film besides rumors, there definitely seems to be a lot kind of going on here. But you know, I will be fascinated because I was very much in the camp that you were in, Stuart, in the sense of like, okay, so we introduced Shala Ball first. Maybe she'll have this storyline, and then when they actually do come over to the MCU, maybe that's when they actually will meet sort of Norrin Rad. Maybe they're holding off on him for the future, and maybe that's certainly still the case. Maybe they can still certainly meet him in that MCU, but if anything, I dig the concept of twin heralds. It does make me wonder, according to the storyline, if I'm not mistaken, I do believe Shala Ball perishes in one of their battles towards the end. So I am kind of curious as to if they're going to stick with that story, or if the Norrin Rad Silver Surfer is going to perish and they'll stick with Shala Ball. If anything, I just want to say, I think there's a lot of possibilities that they can certainly run with this. But I'm hoping that this satisfies the Norrin Rad fans that were kind of worried about the idea of him not being in this film. Again, this is simply just a rumor. This could not be true. But I think they might be onto something here. So we'll see how this certainly holds up. If anything, if there is anything I have to question, Stuart, my thing would be, why are you releasing this news this way? And I say that in the sense of like, there are times, Stuart, when I wonder if these reporters really do want to cause, I don't want to say divisiveness, but just drama. Like, you mean to tell me when you reported this Shala Ball information 3 weeks ago, you didn't know Norrin Rad was going to be in this movie too? Right? Like, have you been sitting on this for weeks, just letting people just be mad about stuff? Because again, it's not even Disney that's announcing this information. These are all coming from insider sources, if you will. So people are letting this information sort of get out. So you mean to tell me you knew about Shala Ball 3 weeks ago, but none of your insider sources until now knew that Norrin Rad was also going to be in this movie? I just don't believe it, Stuart. I just don't believe it. It just feels shifty to me in regards to like the idea of how they want to release their news. They easily could have just announced both of these two characters together when they announced the Shala Ball stuff. But yeah.
I mean, oh, this is gonna make me sound terrible, but I think I would do the same if I knew they were both going to be in the movie. I would announce, the female version first, just to see that specific portion of the internet get really pissed off and upset, and then after letting them have their tantrums, then be like, oh, and then this Silver Surfer is also going to be in the movie.
I mean, look, if anything, I definitely do think that it let people show their ass for sure. Like, I think it definitely let people show their true colors immediately. Like, just like, we're gonna let all these people just come out of their creepy closets, let people know where they stand, and then once they've made themselves known, boom, we'll hit them with the whole idea that there is a male Silver Surfer in this movie. Yeah, it's cruel.
Yes.
But yeah.
I'm just saying I would probably do the same thing if I had that kind of information.
That's so funny. Sam, what's up, Sam? He says Shala and Norrin need to be together. Love storyline, and I think it will be a good idea. There is an element to like a love story between the twin heralds that does personally very much appeal to me. I do expect one of these surfers to at least die or perish by the end of the film, or maybe at the beginning of the film, who knows. But if anything, I do think that there's a very compelling story to be told there between the idea of two cosmic powered lovers, if you will. Sam does ask, who will play Norrin Rad Silver Surfer? My idea cast thinking Uz was Robert Pattinson. The article believes it's Keith. Damn it, what was his name? I just had it up here. What did it say in the article? And you've probably seen him before. Lakeith Stanfield. I just recently remember him in. I just saw him in a movie, Judas and the Black Messiah. He was in, and The Harder They Fall, the western with Jonathan Majors. Let me go ahead and pull up an image for you guys. Again, this is just rumors. But they were assuming that maybe this guy, Lakeith Stanfield, great actor.
Yes.
I'm a really big fan of his. But they were talking about him possibly playing Norrin Rad in it. So we'll see. And again, he did comment the idea when they announced Shia LaBeouf's casting. He made the since now deleted post. I thought it was going to be me, sort of thing. So whether or not people want to take that as confirmation that he is also going to be a Norrin Rad Silver Surfer, who knows? But that is just a rumor as to who could potentially be playing him. But we'll see what happens, man. We'll see.
Yeah, I saw him in the Haunted Mansion. That was a fun movie.
Yeah, he was in Haunted Mansion as well. Yes, sir. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts, whether that be on the possible rumors of Norrin Rad actually being in the Fantastic Four movie, or your thoughts on Joseph Quinn's comments about the script and working alongside such brilliant actors when it comes to Fantastic Four. We definitely want to know your guys' thoughts in the comment section box below. And with that out of the way, Stuart, let's get into our next topic, shall we? Because big things are happening when it comes to the Transformers franchise. I do feel like ever since we got Transformers Bumblebee, there's been certainly some positivity behind that particular franchise. I was personally a really big fan of Bumblebee, directed and written by Travis Knight. I was a little bit bummed that Travis Knight didn't return for Rise of the Beast, the sequel for the Transformers film. But I actually really enjoyed that movie, seeing Anthony Ramos wind up taking the lead in there. Definitely a great build off of what certainly came before in Bumblebee. And they definitely teased a huge possibility of what is now confirmed from CinemaCon of an upcoming Transformers and G.I. Joe crossover film. We'll see how that certainly goes. But in the news this week, we wind up getting a brand new trailer for a highly anticipated brand new Transformers film by the name of Transformers 1. It's got some huge casting announcements already in regards to who's going to be doing a lot of the voices. We got, I believe, Chris Hemsworth is going to be voicing the role of Optimus Prime in here. We also got Scarlett Johansson and a ton of others that are going to be populating this film. But this week, a lot of people were highly anticipating the official trailer that wind up dropping here. And I got to say, Stuart, I think we got a little bit of a mixed bag of reviews from people that have checked out the Transformers 1 trailer. But we haven't had the opportunity to. I was thinking about doing a video for it separately this week, but I was like, it dropped so late in the week. I wanted to hold off and talk about it in this. Have you seen the original Transformers cartoon movie? I think you're muted.
Yes, I did. Fun fact about that movie, that was Orson Welles' very last role when he voiced Unicron.
Was it really? Wow.
Yeah.
So what's been your excitement level for a new animated Transformers film?
For a Transformers film that's animated, the moment this was announced, I actually got pretty excited. I think Indy and I were actually talking about this movie at one point because I think it was the week you were gone. We were mentioning that the concept of this being a prequel, of it being back when Optimus and Megatron were friends, this was something actually straight from the comic books. And from the trailer, it looks like they're taking a very different spin on that, but it looks like they're still going with that same premise, the two of them being friends before the big war kind of starts.
Yeah, they definitely refer to this as very much an origin story for both of these characters, even referring to them in the trailer under completely two different names, seeing them really kind of starting off on the low end of the totem pole, if you will. But let's talk about it, man. Transformers 1, they dropped the official trailer along with the official poster. Also, real quick, shout out to the 164 people now watching us over on X and Twitter today. We definitely appreciate you guys certainly coming through. Look, man, if you're watching us over there, hit that like button, man, repost, click that retweet. It definitely goes a long way. Let's get this X counter up to like 200 views, y'all. Let's do that. And subscribe to us over on YouTube, especially the 12 people watching us on our YouTube channel right now. We appreciate you guys always coming through each and every week, man. Hit that like button. It really does go a long way for our algorithm. But let's talk about this trailer, Stuart. This is not the vibe I was expecting. I'll just say that right off the bat. Not to take anything away from this movie, because I don't know anything about this film besides the idea that it is in fact an origin story. This trailer comes in at about 2 minutes long, and it's kind of a mixed bag of things that I really wanted to see and get excited for, and other things that I kind of question. The drama is definitely going to be there. I do think that there are moments of a serious tone that can be found in this trailer to let you know, like, I do think that there's a dense storyline that's definitely here. The action looks pretty incredible. I'm actually a fan of the animation style. I know some people have kind of pushed back against it, but I do think it's probably going to look brilliant on the big screen. So there are elements of a storyline here, a seriousness that I do think that this film will certainly take from its trailer. But I was not expecting the comedic vibe in here. And that's not to say that Transformers can't be comedic, but there are elements of, like, when I watch this, I get the comparison I make is the Lego movie, or like the Batman Lego movie. you know, just some of the antics that we see from Bumblebee, the type of dialogue that we get, the humor that's really infused in here. I personally don't know if I would have my first trailer being the first impression to be the overly comedic aspect of it. I think maybe they wanted to emphasize the idea that, look, this is going to be a pretty well balanced film. It's certainly still family friendly for the kids. Here's some kid jokes, yada, 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 to get the kids and the family to certainly come out. So maybe that's who they were certainly trying to appeal to. Not to say that I think that this is going to be a bad film. I guess this is an aspect of maybe the expectations that I might have had for this film. This first trailer certainly came out and was like, this movie is not what you think it's going to be. And that could be a really great thing for this film, because we have seen things like Phil Miller and or Lord and Miller, I should say, do some great things with movies like the Lego movie, along with Into the Spider-Verse, where there's very much a serious topic and storyline in there, but they definitely fall back on some of the comedy aspects. And granted, Lord and Miller is not doing this Transformers 1 movie, but I do think that there are examples of movies still being successful even when you think it should go one way and they have a completely different vision for it. So did this trailer raise my expectations for the movie? No. I think my expectations are certainly still where they were. If anything, I probably have more questions, but I definitely will be open-minded about what this Transformers 1 movie can be, and certainly give it a shot. Because I do see the balance in it, but I don't know if my first step would have been to really rely so much on the comedy aspect of things. But what about you, Stuart? How did you take this trailer? What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? Let me know.
I do agree with you. Very much looks like it's going for a younger audience, very much filled with more jokes than I expected. But I also think one of two things. I think one, this is just kind of like their main audience is kids, and so that's who they're trying to hook with this trailer. And I think like other movies have done this. Like I'm pretty sure if you were to look at the trailer for some kind of more mature like kids movies like Toy Story 3 or How to Train Your Dragon, the trailers do not give you the overall vibe that the entire movie as a whole will give you. And I feel like that's what they're doing here. The other thing too is like alternate takes. Trailers tend to use a lot of alternate takes, so a lot of the really, really dumb lines that you kind of get in this movie, there's a chance, or that you get in the trailer, there's a chance you may not get it in the actual movie. So I'm personally currently like cautiously optimistic about this. The main reason being is because while with the writing it seems a little, again, very how do I say, like simple in terms of its dialogue and stuff. When it comes to the animation and then just like a little bit of the action that they showed off, it looks like there was definitely a lot like put into that, not just like money, but like clearly a lot of effort put into it. So I doubt they would make it go for only a young audience if they're going to put this much effort into it. I feel like they would want to go for a full family, kind of audience. So that means making it a little more mature as the story goes along. So I would say that I'm definitely cautiously optimistic about it. And again, it's not the same story as the comics, but still a similar vibe in the sense that we get to see these two as friends and hopefully falling apart by the end of it. I hope they don't pull a Pan, in the Peter Pan prequel, where essentially you have Peter Pan and Hook becoming friends and they never split up at the end. They instead just end it by saying, "Hey, do you think we'll ever not be friends?" I don't want them to do that. I want them to actually show Megatron like turning to the dark side and why he turns to the dark side. I want it to be sad when he turns to the dark side. So I think that's like my main thing. Now, there is one thing I did not like at all about this trailer, and I'm wondering if you have the same thing in mind. If you can guess what it is.
The music? The
Nope.
soundtrack? No.
It is the lip movement. I don't know why, but I don't mind it in the cartoon when the lips move, even though it's all mechanical. So it's technically there should be like a line or something that shows it moving up and down. But when I'm watching it in CG, just something about it is just unsettling. Every time they talk, I'm just like, I don't know. It's like I feel like they need to cover their mouths or something. I'm like, ew, gross. I don't know why. It may only just be me, but just something about the lip movement, I don't like it in this.
I'll have to rewatch it and see how unsettling it is. But like I would agree with you. I do think there's a good story in here. If anything, I'd be really looking forward to seeing what the second trailer that comes out for this movie is certainly gonna look like, if they're gonna have a different vibe to it and really focus more heavily on the story. I did like one of the shots where they're on the surface world and you see the sun behind them and they're all looking at the screen and they see something horrifying happen and then Bumblebee just turns and books it, sort of thing. I did certainly chuckle at that. So we'll see, man. But they definitely make them feel like they're at the very much the low end of the totem pole. They come across these powers, sort of thing, and really kind of take off. I don't know what they did when it comes to the comic book in regards to showcasing their origin story, or how vastly different it's certainly going to be from like canon or whatever the case may be. But we'll see. And I would agree with you. I hope it is the case that by the end of this film, they are definitively on separate sides, and not hit us with that line of, "Yeah, do you think we'll ever be enemies?" Like I would like to see what causes that rift in here. But I'm fascinated with the origin story for sure. So we'll see how this turns out to be. They also did go ahead and release brand new character posters this week too, showcasing Chris Hemsworth here. Who else? You know what? That's what dropped. I was like, why is there a Transformers posters missing? Let me bring up the one for Megatron 2. How do you like the voices?
I'm sure they'll grow on me. As of now, just I'm kind of indifferent about them.
Yeah, I'm kind of indifferent too. Although I will say I don't mind Chris Hemsworth's voice as Optimus. I do wonder if that's something that's going to end up changing as he becomes more powerful or gets more of a leadership role in here. But that's the Brian Tyree Henry as Megatron here. We also got Scarlett Johansson's character as well. And then we got Keegan Michael Key as Bumblebee. That's who's doing his voice. Okay, it did not connect with me there, but I think that's probably pretty perfect casting if you want to go that route. But yeah, guys, let us know some of your thoughts in regards to the Transformers 1. Let me go ahead and bring this down because there are some comments here I want to highlight real quick. Nathan Moore says this seems like it's for younger audiences. Maybe I've seen mixed reviews. Yeah, and kind of like what Stuart said, it definitely feels like this is appealing certainly more to kids. But if anything, I do think that there's something there. I don't know if this was the smartest first trailer, but maybe it is if that's who you're certainly appealing to. Marcelino says some people were hoping this movie would have the same CGI and level of seriousness from the live action movies, and I think that's and this is what I said. Stuart was like, I think I have my own levels of expectation of what I thought this movie was going to be, and I think when it comes through and it hits different, then I do think that we need to maybe be a little bit more open minded and understanding that look, this is probably not like my vision. Clearly, is not what their vision is. But I then again going into this, I really had no idea what they were trying to do with it. So I probably shouldn't have had an unfair expectation for what this movie is going to be. But I would agree though. Like I did think that the CGI was going to be, I don't want to say better, but just a different style than what we got.
Yeah, I think in my head I was kind of picturing like two things. One, the video game franchise War for Cybertron, and two, the opening to Bumblebee. But again, I think it's just only because they announced so very little about this movie. So essentially like my brain just pieced together things I know from that era. And because of that, when they give us something different, it's definitely that kind of shock factor you kind of got to get over the first time you see it, like, oh, this definitely wasn't what I expected.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Blossom with the super chat this week. Also, always coming through on a weekly basis, man. Blossom says the art in this poster, holy macaroni. Yeah, she's a big fan of the poster art here for sure. I'm hoping we get some pretty cool additional posters outside of that and the character posters that we wind up getting here too. I do like the character posters. I think those are pretty badass personally.
Bumblebee smile. I don't know. It's just something about it.
It's just unsettling, more unsettling.
Yeah.
For Stuart. He's going to have nightmares of this Bumblebee poster.
It'll just be, it won't even be the full like transform. It'll just be the Transformers mouths just like chasing me down a hall.
I mean, this does look pretty creepy though. Like if I saw this down a dark hallway, I might be terrified too.
Like get rid of the yellow, part of the head, just keep like the metal part of it. Yeah. It's, I don't know. Something about it's unsettling.
Shout out to Blossom also for the super chat, man. We really do appreciate it. Look, if you guys want to support the channel anyway, this is the best way to do it. You can go ahead and support us monetarily if you can. Send us a super chat. We'll definitely stop what we're doing. We'll definitely highlight your comment, bring it up on screen, and certainly discuss what you have to say. But that's we're not really sponsored by anybody here. We really continue to grow from your guys' help on a weekly basis. So if you can help out monetarily, super chats are fantastic. If not, a good liking of the video, retweeting, sharing these videos, it definitely does go a long way. So we appreciate that as always, Blossom. And then Sam says Chris Hemsworth is a good voice for Optimus Prime, but Peter Cullen is always will always be Prime. Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think Hemsworth is a pretty good choice for this one.
Yeah. It's just, big shoes to fill because he's been voicing Optimus Prime for like almost, I think, every adaptation except for the last movie, Rise of the Beast, if I'm not mistaken. Definitely in the comments, correct me if I'm wrong on that.
And look, this isn't the first time that we've gotten a Transformers movie per se, animated wise. For those of you who don't recall, Netflix a couple of years ago just recently had like a trilogy of Transformers. Was they? No, I don't think they were films. I think they were episodes. They were limited. I think it was like a limited series. Now that I think about it, so not an animated film. I think it was like 6 parts per part of the trilogy, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was a trilogy of seasons, but it was like, I guess you could say it was a trilogy of mini seasons because it was like 6 episodes each. And they didn't like follow an episodic format. It was actually just like one. It felt like one long movie, but divided into 6 parts, kind of like a Marvel TV show.
Yeah, that's very much a good point. If anything, I think because I had just recently gotten that Transformers on Netflix, there was definitely a hint of that. Maybe that's what I was kind of expecting from this film. And there was like not an ounce of comedy in that Netflix series, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I think that's where my expectations for the trailer certainly was. But we'll see. Hopefully we'll get a little bit more information. Another trailer in the near future. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought about Transformers 1 trailer in the comment section box below. And with that, Stuart, we will go ahead and wrap up that topic. And we're going to go ahead and change pace to go to another franchise, one of my favorites, and that is, in fact, Star Wars, as we're going to get into some news about the Acolyte here. as we prepare for this series to go ahead and drop, I believe, in June, if I'm not mistaken. For those of you who are wanting a brand new sneak peek at the series, come May 3rd, to celebrate that May the 4th weekend, Star Wars is re-releasing The Phantom Menace in theaters. It's going to be in theaters for a 3-day weekend. And ahead of the Phantom Menace 25th anniversary showing, they are in fact going to be having a sneak peek at the Acolyte for us to get more footage. And well, at least I'm hoping it's certainly more footage. If anything, I will be kind of curious as to what that sneak peek is going to look like. Is it a featurette? Is it a brief clip? Is it a brief new trailer? Is it just re-showing us the trailer again? I really hope that that's not the case. But the Acolyte is back in the news. It's been getting a lot of press lately, as Empire Magazine has been talking a little bit about it. Total Film has been highlighting it in their magazine as well. And one of the stars this week, Daphne Keane, that some people will probably most notably remember her as X-23 from the Logan film. She's gone on to do other things as well, but that's probably what most people will certainly remember her for. Daphne Keane will, in fact, be playing a Jedi in this upcoming series, and she had the opportunity to sit down with Entertainment Weekly and talk really about just the training that goes into it, along with some of the lightsaber battles and whatnot, and really their expectations that they're kind of putting on themselves in regards to delivering for the fans. And I thought this was a pretty interesting one here, Stuart, that got some pushback from some Star Wars people online. But let's go ahead and see exactly what she says here. According to Entertainment Weekly, Star Wars The Acolyte aims to top the Darth Maul lightsaber fight. And here we go. Here's where all the prequel people are like, no, impossible. So we'll see what she's actually talking about here. There's a lot of excitement surrounding the Star Wars latest live-action Disney entry, The Acolyte, premiering June 4th. The series will be the first on-screen look at the High Republic era, which has been thoroughly examined in a series of recent novels, which I highly recommend. But there's another reason fans are eagerly anticipating the show, and that would be the brief glimpses at the action on display in the recently released trailer. With fighting sequences inspired by martial arts choreography, The Acolyte has fans dreaming of returning to what many consider to be the best lightsaber battle in franchise history: Darth Maul's acrobatic engagement against Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan Kenobi in The Phantom Menace. And if viewers are hoping the fights in The Acolyte can match or exceed that epic confrontation, they are not alone. It is a bar that the cast and crew talked openly and often about clearing. But before we get into this, Stuart, I got to ask you, man, is this your favorite Star Wars lightsaber battle?
Ooh, it's up there. It's up there. Probably. I don't know, because it's like this one and then the lightsaber battle between Anakin and Obi-Wan are like the two big ones that I think of when I think of like epics. And even though they didn't have the special effects for it at the time, I still love Vader's first fight with Luke. Luke. Fuck it, I'm gonna go with Maul. Yeah, this one's my favorite.
I don't, man. It's kind of a tie for this. Is probably I would honestly say, yeah, this is probably my favorite. Just because I have countless time. I've lost count how many times I've literally have just gone back to watching The Phantom Menace for this fight alone. The whole thing from beginning to end, when it's just Obi-Wan and Maul at the end, it's just fire to me. If there is one that comes close to me, and I don't know what other people's take on this is, but it's probably Return of the Jedi, Luke Skywalker, Vader. There is something about the emotional arc that's in there, seeing like the savagery of Luke just swinging his lightsaber at the thought of having to like protect his sister and stuff, when she becomes found out, sort of thing. It's just I think it's just an epic lightsaber battle conclusion that's kind of been building up in here. So those are probably like my two favorites, followed closely by Empire Strikes Back. While I love the Obi-Wan and Anakin, it's just too fast for me. Like I really would have liked them to, even though they're great at what they're doing, but I would have liked them have slowed down a little bit. And I wish that George had stuck with that fight for a longer period of time instead of editing it and slicing it back and forth to other battles. So I do have my issues with it, but it's not to take away from its brilliance. It's pretty amazing. But let's go ahead and dive into this because they're talking about this. This is the Acolyte. It says this is what Daphne Keene says. She says, yeah, that was a very frequent conversation we had. Daphne Keene, who plays alien Jedi Jackie Lan. Let me go ahead and pull up her photo for you guys so you can see who exactly she's going to be playing. She says, it was very much, we want to top the Darth Maul fight, the most iconic fight, I think, in the Star Wars cinematic universe. It's such an amazing fight, and we were all so excited about the saber battles. There's such a skill and a craft to it that it feels so OG Star Wars and feels so impressive when you see it as a viewer. First off, I just find it funny now that they're considering the prequels OG Star Wars. It just shows you the different generations, Stuart. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Keen's fondest memory on set involved having a lightsaber in her hand. It was the first part of filming. I loved the whole training process of it. Everyone was very excited about it, which then made it much more fun. Our incredible stunt team created this kind of fusion of different martial arts, and we were really training in how to use the sabers. I feel very comfortable with the sword now, and I know that Charlie does too, and I know that JJ does too. We were all in there for hours a day training, and it was really fun to kind of explore also a different side to the characters within the fighting. Before I go on, anything that really stands out to you in that one?
The fact that they enjoy the training that gets involved with it, because I know, like, for some actors, that tends to be why they'll use like stunt doubles a lot of times, is because they don't want to go through that, you know, intense training. Because you look at the behind the scenes for especially like Force Awakens and like the training that Daisy Ridley why am I forgetting the actor's name? But Finn and Kylo Ren all went through.
Adam Driver and John Boyega.
John Boyega, that's right. Yeah, the training that they went through, like there's some behind the scenes videos, and it's something that would be really hard to do if you weren't into it. So hearing that they're into it, that they're having a good time with it, yeah, that's always good to hear.
I would be curious who their stunt coordinators are, you know, because when I think of the Phantom Menace and just lightsaber battles, you know, I just think of Nick Gillard, who was the lightsaber trainer for all three of the prequel films. I think I might have met Nick a long time ago at Star Wars Celebration back in Indianapolis when they were getting ready to celebrate the opening for Revenge of the Sith. I definitely got the opportunity to meet Ray Park there, and it always made me wonder if Nick Gillard was in any way still working alongside Lucasfilm after all those years, because I just feel like he is just one of the most incredible swordsmen that I've kind of seen. And while I know it's been years since then, you know, there are elements. I'm sure there have been other people that have come up in the stunt training for lightsaber battles that have kind of taken over, but I always liked the way Nick approached it, you know, with the different sort of fighting techniques that he sort of kind of helped create. And I wonder if those that are doing the stunt coordinating now and the stunt training now, if they go back to some of his work, you know, like what he established, if they're truly kind of building upon sort of thing. So I just think it's pretty cool that they at least are keeping that mindset of like, we want to top that. You know, I don't know if you can top something like that, but I do think that somebody like Nick Gillard should take that as like a compliment of like what you established is still like the bar to this day, 25 years later, right? And the mentality of, you know, maybe we do, maybe we don't top it, but that's what we want to try and give the fans. For me, is at least pretty inspiring.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
Because I've seen some people twisting their words like this is an embarrassment or an insult to Nick, and I'm just like, I don't find it that way at all.
Someone wants to do better than what I did years ago because what I did years ago was that good. Okay, cool. That I take that as a compliment.
Yeah, I take it very much as a compliment.
Or like you said, that's the fact that this movie that I helped with in 1998 is still the bar to this day. That is what I got from that interview. So it's like, again, if I was him, I would take that as a compliment.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how he takes it, but I just feel like I have seen some people in the fandom saying this is an insult to what Nick did. I'm like, no, I don't think so.
Mhm.
I think it's just giving him praise for what he accomplished. And the fact that a 19-year-old actress is like super fond of what he did before she was even born, I think says something.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead.
I was just gonna say it'd be one thing if they said like the fights were dated, or if it's more if they need to update the fights, something like that. But I didn't hear that at all.
Yeah, me either. And it says, and Keen says, you see, talking about the character styles, saying that you also get to explore different sides of the characters within the fighting. And Keen says, you see those different sides coming out through the moves they employ while in battle. You can show a different aspect of your character. I feel like the way that JJ's character fights and the way that my character fights are completely different. And also with the way that Charlie's character fights, I found a lot of Jackie's repressed parts of her within her fighting. They only come out in the fight scenes. And as someone who really enjoys doing stunts, getting to learn a new skill, it was just really fun and such a privilege. She says, I remember watching Star Wars when I was a kid, then playing with sticks on the street and being like, I have a lightsaber. And now finally getting to to learn these incredible choreographs that the stunt team put together, which is honestly such a privilege because we had such an amazing stunt team. I'm always jealous, man, when I hear people talking about the stunt training that they received. I'm like, why not me, damn it? Like, I got a lightsaber. Somebody train me, damn it. But yeah, I'm just thrilled that she's enjoying it. And if anything, what I will say too is, I do love her talking about the idea of like the different personalities kind of coming out. She mentioned something about, there's I found a lot of Jackie, her character, Jackie's repressed parts of her within her fighting. They only come out in fight scenes. And I think that's pretty cool, especially as like a Jedi. Like I think there's like if there's like a feralness to her that maybe as like a Jedi, she's done her best to like repress that and kind of keep that sort of all in. But when her life is threatened or she's got a fight, there is an aspect of her that kind of lets that out when it comes to in battle. And again, I don't know if it's a feral aspect or if there's a something like an instinctual aspect of her that kind of kicks in. But the way that she's talking about it, like when it's time to turn on her lightsaber, all those years of whatever feelings she's had to repress are now kind of coming out. It feels like a wildness maybe that's kind of still inside of her that she can only really showcase when she's in battle. And there is something pretty cool about that for me personally.
That is awesome, because I feel like that's one of the flaws of the Jedi is the idea of, the Jedi very much have that mentality of repress your emotions rather than channeling it. And whereas, like, it sounds like with this character, that's exactly what she's doing. She's not repressing her. Again, I'm assuming that when she's talking about like a side of her that we don't see as a Jedi, I'm assuming she's talking about like emotions, aggression, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's like the better, especially if you're a guardian of peace. I think that's a smarter way to do it. It just makes more sense to channel your aggressive emotions rather than just completely suppress them. Channel them into something like good, to help other people.
So we'll see how this turns out. I do like this photo. There is a part of me that feels like this is very much a set piece. I do wish that Star Wars did more on location type of filming. But I don't really know how this is all coming together for Leslie Headland. But look, and I'm a big fan of the idea of like each character having their own distinct fighting ability. Like you were able to see that in Mace Windu, you were able to see that in Anakin's fighting style, especially when it comes to Obi-Wan. I mean, the classic fucking, the thing that he always fucking does. Ewan McGregor loves to hit that pose and move. I'm sure they have definitely different techniques that they have in their bag that depending on what the situation in battle is, they can certainly pull out. But there definitely is I love the idea of giving each character sort of like their own distinct feel to battle. And, going back to that, I when I think of the idea of personality traits with your fighting style, I don't know why I think of the Power Rangers reboot movie. And I say that because I remember leading up to the film itself, the actors talked highly about, like, yeah, our fighting styles, are very much, dictated by like our personality. So everybody's going to have a different fighting sort of ability and fighting technique. I didn't see any of that on screen when it when it actually came out. So I am hoping that that in fact does stay true, that when we do see these characters in some level of a battle, that we'll get the opportunity to be able to see just how different they truly are.
Mm-hmm.
And this was also a brand new exclusive shot that was dropped from Total Film also this week.
Gotta love how like the Jedi outfit is so iconic that it hasn't changed for 500 years.
I mean, I feel like we have seen like two different garbs that they've worn. They definitely have like their white Jedi outfits, I think, when they're at the council at least, or in the temple itself. So I do wonder if this is like their traveling garb, like going from planet to planet sort of thing. But definitely a lot to look forward to.
I do gotta say, like, the whole idea of everyone having a different fighting style, that's very much in line with Star Wars, because we see it throughout all the movies and even in the Clone Wars. Everyone fights differently, and it just leads to some really badass fight scenes because of it.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. And just the teaser that we wind up getting, it was a lot more hand-to-hand combat stuff, for sure. That felt very Matrixy from just the brief trailer that we wind up getting. We didn't really see the lightsabers whipped out until the very last few seconds. So I am kind of curious as to how much lightsaber action there really is in this series. But I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts in the comment section box below. Look, we got 226 viewers on Twitter right now, guys. So I'm expecting at this point like 200 likes and 200 retweets, y'all. So if you're watching us over on Twitter, man, hit that like button, hit that retweet, let people know we're going live. Same thing with you folks over on YouTube, man. 11 viewers over there on YouTube. If you guys haven't hit that like button, please do yourselves a big favor, man. It doesn't cost you anything, takes 2 seconds. Definitely helps the algorithm, y'all. Let's see
And
what
the
some
best
people.
part, it's free.
It's free. That's right. Let's see what some people are saying in the comments here. Blossom. I've always been curious about the Phantom Menace as a kid. I don't think I've ever seen it, but I'd like to. Well, you know what? You got an opportunity now. Beginning May 3rd through the 5th, for that May the 4th weekend, they are re-releasing it in theaters. So if you want to see it on the big screen, this is probably your opportunity to do so. So May 3rd through the 5th, the Phantom Menace will be back in theaters. And if anything, I will be kind of curious to see how it holds up on the big screen. George Lucas was great about being a step ahead when it comes to technology, very much like James Cameron certainly is in that regards. I am kind of curious how visually it will still look on screen when you check it out. Like, I saw a preview in the theaters for The Mummy. I think The Mummy was coming back in theaters to celebrate it. It's also 25th anniversary or something like that. They probably came out around the same time, and the graphics just looked horrible. Like, they did not hold up well whatsoever. And so I'm really hoping that the Phantom Menace continues to look great on the big screen all these years later.
I actually rewatched The Mummy a couple years ago, and I think it's funny. The reason I remember it looking so much better is because I think every time before it, I had only seen it on VHS, and I think it's one of those movies that actually kind of looks better when the quality isn't too crisp.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. Marcelino says some people say they won't watch The Acolyte because it's run by Leslie Headland, who was Harvey Weinstein's assistant, and they refuse to support someone who worked for Harvey Weinstein. Like, I don't blame you. I can understand that.
My question is though, with him, because okay, so I don't know if everyone who's worked with Harvey Weinstein does this, but I do know that Kevin Smith, a lot of his movies were produced by Harvey Weinstein, which he, after all the things about him came out, Kevin Smith was completely pissed and disgusted about this. So what he does is, like, every month, I don't know how much, but he donates a good sum of money to basically women directors out there. So I'd say,
Nice.
check to see if this guy does something like that, because I personally do believe that there is, redemption for people. And so, because and that's not me saying for Harvey Weinstein, definitely not. Fuck that guy. Keep him in prison.
Fuck that guy.
But, just because he was his assistant doesn't necessarily mean he knew everything. I could be totally wrong. He maybe did, but yeah, see what he's been doing after after everything kind of came out about Harvey Weinstein, and see if he's actually trying to make a difference, like Kevin Smith currently is.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is like if her name's not necessarily coming up in court documents, if there's no allegations about her, if I don't know what
Oh,
Leslie
sorry, her. My
That's okay.
bad.
I don't know what Leslie Headland knew or didn't know as his assistant, so maybe her hands are pretty clean about that. If her hands are clean, then yeah, I mean, sometimes people work for people and don't realize that they're monsters, the way that Harvey Weinstein certainly is. But yeah, to each their own if they want to support it or not.
Speaking of which, Adam, is that a head hanging from your ceiling? I'm kidding.
I was like, what?
I've been working for a serial killer this whole time.
Yeah, don't look under the blanket. Blossom, since May the 4th is coming, at least I have a chance to cosplay as Leia this year. Absolutely. So what's your Marcelin's asking her a question. Never mind. Nathan, what's up, Nathan? Good to see you in here. And Marceline says Leslie Headland claims she did not know what Harvey Weinstein did. Then there you go. Unless she's being brought to court or she's in the documents and people are name dropping her, then I wouldn't worry about it. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts. What's your level of anticipation when it comes to the Acolyte? Again, the sneak peek for the Acolyte attached to the Phantom Menace dropping May 3rd back in theaters. Go ahead and certainly check it out. I would be kind of curious if they're going to release that to the public. Do you think they will, Stuart? Maybe after it's run in theaters, the sneak peek that they offer.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so
actually, I don't see why they wouldn't. Actually, if it's going to be released in public theaters, yeah, I feel like it would definitely come to YouTube afterwards.
I hope so. Look, I think we got 12 people watching us on YouTube. I'm counting six likes right now, guys. Let's get that to double digits at least. Let's at least get to 10 likes if y'all haven't hit that button yet, man. It really does go a long way to support the channel, especially if you're watching us live, man, and enjoying our content. Hit that like button, man. It takes 2 seconds. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and get into our next topic. What is our next topic, Stuart? Let me okay, there we go.
Oh wait, no, it's the Mad Max one.
The Mad Max one. Yeah, we're about to get into some more Furiosa talk. I feel like personally, Stuart, every time I watch a trailer or a new clip, I get more and more hyped for this movie. Like, I truly don't know how George Miller even does this in his old ass age, to be able to just knock out these bangers. And granted, we don't know how Furiosa is certainly going to do, but his previous Mad Max film was great. I think he's got an incredible cast certainly attached to Furiosa Mad Max Saga here. We got Anya Taylor-Joy, who's still extremely popular in Hollywood, attached with Chris Hemsworth, who I think is going to really showcase just a vicious side that we've never seen Chris Hemsworth. I mean, I don't know if he's ever played the villain in a role in a film or anything like that, but he has such a persona about him, just like the laid back funny guy, really really nice guy. And I'm really eager to kind of see what Chris Hemsworth is going to do when bringing this particular character to life. But speaking of George Miller and just the idea of him still knocking it out of the park in his old age, I got to say, there's an article that just dropped that talked about a 15-minute long action sequence. I don't believe it's uncut or like a one-shot sort of thing, but the idea of just adrenaline pumping 15-minute action piece just gets me even further excited for this upcoming film. But I wanted to talk about it because Anya Taylor-Joy is discussing this and has some things to say in regards to like how it'll actually heighten the understanding of her character. And so this comes to us from Total Film through their website, gamesradar.com, saying Mad Max prequel Furiosa has a 15-minute action sequence that took 200 stunt people and 78 days to shoot. And it's very important for understanding the Furiosa character. So let's go ahead and talk about this as Furiosa is back in the news here. This is an exclusive from them.
Sorry, how many days did you say it took to shoot?
78.
Wow.
Yeah, 78. So hopefully this movie has not gone over budget, and this is 78 days planned. But it says the film has one 15-minute sequence, which took us 78 days to shoot, he says, with close to 200 people. working on it daily. This is his producer partner talking. Director George Miller's producing partner Doug Mitchell tells Total Film. It says that the sequence marks a turning point for Furiosa. They actually known during production as Stairway to Nowhere. So that's what they refer to the sequence as in the behind the scenes in the production. It does go on to say, this is Anya Taylor-Joy speaking now. George and I would have these big conversations about why this particular set piece was so long, says Taylor-Joy, who still doesn't have a driver's license, despite learning to do a J-turn on her first day of stunt school. She says, it's because you see a culmination of skills over the course of a battle. And that's very important for understanding how resourceful Furiosa is, but also her grit. It's the longest sequence any of us have ever shot. On the day we finished, everybody got a Stairway to Nowhere wine. Yeah, they probably had to drink after that. That's for sure. But I find that fascinating. Furiosa is set to release on May 24th. So definitely look forward to that. Definitely kicking off a lot of the big blockbuster films. What do you take from that in the sense of like this sequence being so long that it goes to show you just not only her grit, but how resourceful she certainly is in the culmination of skills? What do you think they mean by that?
Well, I think it's kind of their technique of kind of showing how their skills will like match their personality, showing how Furiosa was able to survive in this, world for so long and become the badass that we see her become in Mad Max Fury Road. The other thing I took away from that is, unlike, I think she actually learned from Tom Hardy's mistake of not questioning George Miller, because that is something I always thought was like really funny with, Tom Hardy didn't like a lot of the scenes that were being shot, thought they were just like unnecessarily complicated until he saw the final product, and then immediately took it all back. And so I think she's kind of learned that, like, as crazy as some of these stunts may be, as crazy as some of the setup might be, there's like definitely a purpose behind all of it. So yeah, I think in terms of this, in terms of like kind of showcasing, her resourcefulness and all that, I don't know. I think we'll definitely see her using, it's been a minute since I've seen Fury Road, so I definitely got to rewatch at some point. But I do think that we're going to see her utilizing some of the techniques that she uses in the movie. And if not, we'll see kind of maybe an origin for some of those techniques.
Just a follow-up, chicken on a stick. What's up, Patrick? He says, bad time at the El Royale. He was the bad guy. So Chris Hemsworth has played a bad guy role before. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. I don't think I've seen bad time at the El Royale as of yet. I'm kind of curious what you thought of him, Patrick, as a villain in that movie. And are you excited to see him portray this role in Furiosa? Definitely want to know your thoughts, man. If anything, I find it hilarious that Anya Taylor-Joy still doesn't have a driver's license. Like, what is?
Sorry, that too. Yeah.
What are you waiting on, girl? Like, I'm hoping that after she's done all this stunt training, she could literally go to the DMV and just, pass a driver's test. I hope at this point. Like, damn, girl, you just really want people to chauffeur your ass around everywhere, huh? Or just you don't mind paying for Uber whatsoever. Maybe she's got them private jets and helicopters that take her everywhere she got to go. But damn, to still not know how to drive, that's crazy.
I was going to say, she's also an actress, so maybe that's the thing. She's able to rely on Uber so much. And I don't know how it is in LA, but in San Francisco, there is no point in owning a car. So it's like, even though I have a driver's license, I don't really see myself using it unless I'm leaving San Francisco.
I mean, that's true because, I grew up in the city. And so in New York, and so we always had public transportation everywhere, cab, train, bus, right? Like, it always baffled me, people that did have driver's licenses in New York, because it's just like, one, where are you going to find parking? Two, it's just easy to commute everywhere. And it wasn't until I moved out here to Texas, I was like 20 years old, is when I finally got my driver's license, because I was like, damn, I gotta, it's highways everywhere. And so to commute, I definitely needed to get a driver's license. So I can understand the idea of going a long time without it, but I'm sure she's probably picking up some fantastic tools here and learning a lot while she's certainly on set. But I do think, if anything, I do find it fascinating that she asks George Miller the idea of like, why does this set piece have to be so long? And it just goes to show you how integral a part of the story it's going to be for her character. There is a part of me too. I think from the trailers, she highlights and mentions the idea that her mom was kind of a badass. That her mom clearly was like a sniper or at least a really good shot. And so I wonder if there are elements to her mom that she certainly picked up. Does she know how to fight? And we don't really know. Is this like the first time that she showcases the idea of like everything that she knows, or does she have like, is she special in the sense of she can pick an item up and immediately know how to use it? Like, does she have that type of I don't want to say reflexes, but it's just like a special gift of hers that, she could pick up any item and all of a sudden become an expert at it? Does she just absorb that type of information really well and she can kind of handle herself? So I would be interested to see like how they showcase her, in the sense of, one, did her mom ever train her for anything and how to survive in here? Or does this movie go majority of the way and we don't know really anything about what she's learned? But then when this 15 minutes comes up, it's like, oh, she knows. She knows. She's just never had that opportunity to really showcase it. And this is her moment. So I do think that's pretty interesting in here. But 15 minutes of action from George Miller, sign me up, man. Sign me up. I'm here for it because his set pieces were already pretty bananas in Mad Max. And so just from the trailers alone, they look like they're pretty badass in here too. So I'm really looking forward to this, man. My hype level is really high for this film.
Same.
Was this on your most anticipated list?
No, I actually remember after we did our top 5, I think it was on either yours or Indy's, or maybe even both. I actually regretted not putting it on my top 5 because I had completely forgot that it was coming out.
I can't remember if this is in my top 5 or not. There's a part of me that wants to say yes, but I can't remember. If you guys did watch our top 5 most anticipated films for 2024, maybe you can remind us in the comment section box below. But if you want to check out our most anticipated for this year, especially before the summer films kickoff, there is you can check it out on our YouTube page.
I really hate to admit this, but I think honestly, I kind of phoned in my top 5 for this year because I kind of did my 5 very last minute. So
Shame.
I know. I will not do that again for our top 5 of next year. I promise.
We got Chicken on the Stick. I'm excited to see him in this role. It is certainly different for him, but for El Royale, he was a charismatic cult leader, basically. So this might be similar in that he is a leader of sorts. Yeah, he might be right. Maybe I wonder if George Miller saw him in that role and was like, yeah, Chris Hemsworth would be perfect for this. Sam, Mad Max Hope and Glory fan film. I saw the trailer and it looks awesome, amazing. And it comes out May 5th on YouTube, and I will watch this first and then Furiosa.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out too. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts in regards to the Furiosa 15-minute action sequence. Are you pretty hyped for that big George Miller set piece? Definitely go ahead and let us know your thoughts in the comment section box below. Shout out to the 13 people watching us over on YouTube, man. Thank you guys so much for certainly giving us a view here today. Don't know if you're regulars or not, or if you come back on a weekly basis, but if you do, we appreciate you checking us out. Help us out just a little bit more. Click that like button, man. It definitely does go a long way, even if you can't help us out monetarily. And we got 250 people watching us on X right now, man. Let's bump that up to 300 by the end of this show. People on X, man, hit that like button. We should have 250 likes right now and 250 retweets. Help a brother out here for APlus Hero Report this week, man. Let people know we're live right now. Stuart, let's go ahead and change pace a little bit, man. We've been getting to some heavy stuff here when it comes to our franchises. Let's move to a franchise that's maybe getting its first opportunity to be on the small screen in some capacity. And for you gamers out there, I think a lot of us can definitely remember the classic Sega game, Golden Axe. Golden Axe is definitely in the news here this week. I used to love playing this game, not just on my Sega, but even in the arcades. I think me and the girlfriend actually went to an arcade this past week. We took little kiddo with us called Cidercade. Shout out to Cidercade out in Fort Worth. We got some free tickets this past Monday for like tax-free day or something like that. And I had the opportunity to check out Cidercade. Took the kiddo out for a little bit until about 8 p.m. and then it becomes 21 only. But there definitely was a Golden Axe arcade machine up there that I remember passing by a couple of times, and I was a big fan of it. But this is actually getting itself an adaptation to the small screen. Maybe some people will probably be like, it's about time, when they look at things like The Witcher or even God of War, the whole weapons, sandals, dragons, knights, all that good stuff. As far as a fantasy game goes, I think a lot of people were really hoping Golden Axe would finally get an adaptation. But Stuart, I don't necessarily know if this is the adaptation people were thinking it was going to be. It certainly wasn't for me, but I found it quite interesting that they're certainly going this route. But let's go ahead and bring this up. This is comes to us from Variety. We're actually going to be getting an animated series, not live action, an animated series for Golden Axe from Mike McMahon. I don't even McMahon. How do you pronounce that? McMahon. McMahon
says in our headline here, Golden Axe live action series set for Comedy Central.
No, it says animated series here.
Wait. No, I'm looking at our headline, like our
headline.
Third, yeah.
You know what? Let me edit that real quick. Let me not mislead people here. Hold on a second. Animated series. Let me just
because I was so confused about that because I was like, I remember the image that you sent me for the text, like saying animated, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then when I saw it here live action, I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to change the description on the YouTube channel too. But it's an animated, y'all, coming to us from Comedy Central of all places. I was not expecting this one, Stuart, but it says a Golden Axe animated series has been greenlit at Comedy Central. Based on the beloved Sega game of the same name, the show hails from co-creators Michael McMahon, I guess, and Joe Chandler. Why can I not pronounce this dude's name? From The Americans and Perry Mason, and then Carl Tart from Grand Crew, Star Trek Lower Decks. It says Comedy Central has ordered 10 episodes. The official description of the series states the show follows veteran warriors Axe Battler, Tyrese Flair, and Gilius Thunderhead as they once again battle to save Urea from the evil giant Death Eater, who just won't seem to stay dead. Fortunately, this time they have the inexperienced and unprepared Hampton Squibb on their side. Full character descriptions can be found below. It does say that McMahon and Chandler will co-write the first episodes of this series as executive producers. It says news of the series comes just after Variety reported that Star Trek Lower Decks, which was created by McMahon, will be ending in its 5th season. He's also known for his time as writer and executive producer on Rick and Morty. Chandler is also an executive producer for long-running animated series American Dad. So it definitely looks like the creator of Star Trek Lower Decks is taking over for this as as the head.
I love Lower Decks, so this gets me excited. I think what works about this is that Golden Axe, a fun beat 'em up arcade game, and the story was kind of whatever it was in your head. Like, I mean, I'm sure there probably was a story if you bought the game manual for the Sega Genesis. It would give you like the full background, kind of like what they used to do with a lot of video games back then. But for the most part, like I want to say, like most kids never read those, and they just kind of would go straight into the game, and the story would be whatever was in the kid's imagination. That's how I would play whenever I played like old school, like kind of fantasy games like this or the original Legend of Zelda, is that I wouldn't follow like the game story. The story would just be like whatever story I come up with in my head. And so I think that Golden Axe is one of those games that offers that flexibility to the writers of this.
Yeah, I personally do not recall either the idea of what the story was for Golden Axe. So it definitely felt like if they were going to do something, they definitely was like a fresh take or have their own sandbox they can kind of play with and take liberties behind it. But here's some of the character descriptions. Matthew Reese will play Gilius Thunderhead, a grumpy battle dwarf with exceptionally poor hygiene and a chip on his shoulder. Danny Putty will play Hampton Squibb, a naive, inexperienced first-time adventurer who has dreamt of questing his entire life. He hopes his can-do attitude can make up for his inability to actually do stuff.
Okay, so he's going to be kind of like the Boimler of the group, it sounds like.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Lisa Gilroy will play Tyrus Flair, a fearsome battle sorceress, deadly in a fight and even deadlier with her sharp wit. We got Liam McIntyre will play Axe Battler, a barbarian warrior with a strict code of honor and sweet golden retriever demeanor. His brawn outweighs his brains, but his heart outweighs his brawn. And then Carl Tart will play Cronus Evil Late, originally from Golden Axe 3, is a 100% badass humanoid panther. At least that's how Cronus describes himself. In reality, he's uncomfortably cheesy and can't read a room.
Oh, that's awesome. So all these characters, except for the inexperienced one, sound like they're straight from the game.
Yeah.
And yeah, I always went for the dwarf whenever I played because swinging with the axe just felt so good.
Yeah, I think I was the swords guy, but all the time. But yeah, I totally get it. But yeah, this is definitely going to be an interesting take. And I will say, look, there is a part of me that kind of appreciates this take too, because I do think when you've got so many fantasy kind of stories that are out there, they all very much seem to take themselves quite seriously. And the fact that you can take a genre like Golden Axe that so many people really enjoy and bringing it in an animated realm, which even from, I think it's important, the idea that this is going to be the guy from Star Trek Lower Decks, because I think a lot of people were really big fans of that animated series. And so I do think there's going to be a level of humor that he's going to be bringing over from that series that probably will work extremely well in here. And so some really fun character descriptions, if you ask me, and I got to appreciate the fresh take on this type of genre, because it could have just been another Witcher or any other one of those fantasy, House of the Dragon. Like, they really could have taken themselves super serious with this, but I think Golden Axe is probably the best choice for them to go the animated route for sure.
Yeah, I would also say this, because this is coming from someone who loves Lower Decks currently. It did take me a few episodes to get into. So I think that with these type of animated comedies, sometimes they do take a minute to find their footing. So if the first 2 episodes don't hook you, try to give it like 3 or 4 episodes before giving up on the show.
Yeah, I can't remember how many episodes it said. I think it said 10, if I'm not mistaken, from the article. I just closed the article down. Damn it. But if anything, I would assume that they're probably bite-sized episodes, like 30 minutes or however long something like Lower Deck certainly was. But it seems like they got themselves a pretty good crew behind it and some pretty funny concepts for sure.
Definitely.
But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts in the comment section box below. And then last but not least, we got one more topic that we're going to get into as we are actually awaiting the release of the upcoming Knuckles limited series over on Paramount Plus.
Johnny Morero's just predicting our next topic.
He knew it was coming. What's up, Johnny? Appreciate your levels of excitement. But as we anticipate the release of Knuckles limited series on Paramount Plus, I think next week, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's like the 26th. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's going to be here before we know it. Building itself right off of the Sonic 2 film. I am kind of curious if Knuckles will sort of open the door for a Sonic 3 or maybe a tease towards the end of it, because while Sonic 3 is in fact back in the news, they have teased for quite some time that Shadow was actually going to be in this upcoming film. We now officially have the casting announcement as to who's going to be voicing Shadow. And I thought this was a great one. I mean, look, first you got Idris Elba to come and play Knuckles, which I thought was just a knockout, if you ask me, for Sonic 2. But if you thought that they couldn't get a bigger star than that to be a voice, you would be wrong. Because this week, Stuart, we got some great news here, as fan favorites of John Wick will love this one, man. Keanu Reeves joined Sonic 3 as Shadow. That's right. You heard correctly. good old John Wick is joining the Sonic franchise. Confirmed crossover cinematic universe. No, it's really just Keanu Reeves playing Sonic as the Shadow as the voice. But this comes to us from a Hollywood Reporter. It says Keanu Reeves is speeding along to another franchise. With the John Wick star heading to Sonic the Hedgehog 3, he will be voicing a popular character named Shadow. Multiple sources tell a Hollywood Reporter. The news comes on the heels of a jam-packed CinemaCon presentation from Paramount last week when the studio debuted first footage for Sonic 3. This included the revelation that Dr. Robotnik, played by Jim Carrey, was depressed and out of shape after the events of Sonic 2, but gets his groove back thanks to creating Shadow the Hedgehog, a character first introduced in the video game Sonic Adventure 2. The character is in many ways the anti-Sonic, dark and edgy, while mirroring the hero's powers. Paramount Sonic movie franchise dates back to 2020. Talking about how it performed at the box office with $319 million globally, and then the following grossed $404 million globally. So it's just gaining pace here. And the fact that now you bring on somebody like Keanu Reeves to do the voice for Shadow, I definitely expect the box office just to continue to grow for the Sonic franchise in here, as they're doing some really great things here, Stuart. You know, when they first initially announced the idea of a Sonic movie, I think I definitely rolled my eyes, but damn it if they have not been putting out some great content lately. But I want to get your thoughts on this. I don't know if they teased Shadow at the end of Sonic 2, just because I personally didn't get a chance to watch it, but did they tease it? And did we hear a voice from him already in Sonic 2 or no?
No, we get someone from Gun, which is basically like a government agency that like specializes specifically with like all the Sonic kind of related shenanigans. So basically we hear one of the agents like mentioning Project Shadow, and then we get like an underground, I think we get an underground bunker afterwards, because that's where like kind of Shadow comes from. He's like a clone that was made on Earth, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a minute since I've played Sonic Adventure 2, but it seems like that is the storyline they're going with. The one from Sonic Adventure 2, which was kind of like later expanded on in Sonic X, the animated series. So it seems like that's the story they're going with. And I think Keanu Reeves as Shadow is such an interesting choice, because this feels like the most fan cast like kind of choice you could have possibly gone with. Like it just like the first time I saw this, I thought, wait, is it April 1st? There's no way this is like actually, and it was, and it's just like cool. It's one of those like things where it's like I could see fans actually saying like, would it be cool if Keanu Reeves voiced Shadow, knowing that it would never happen, but now that it's actually happening, it's just I actually don't know how to feel about this. Like, I think he's going to do a good job. I'm pretty sure. It's just, I don't know. Most of what makes Keanu Reeves such a good actor, it's not really just his voice. It's kind of like everything with his voice. So now he's going to be relying on only his voice to carry this performance. And I have no idea how it's going to do.
Man, I'm really pumped for this. I think he's going to have, look, I know you say he doesn't really rely so much on his voice, but I do think that when you hear Keanu Reeves' voice, like you can close your eyes and hear his voice and you'd be like, that's totally Keanu. Like that's totally him. I definitely do think he's got a certain trait to his voice that will work so well, especially if you're trying to go anti-Sonic. And he's got, what is the article saying? That he's the opposite, but that he's like the dark version of the character and edgy. Yeah, when you think of dark and edgy, I can definitely hear Keanu Reeves' voice for sure. So I'm really pumped for this. We got some really great comments in here though, that I want to bring up. Sam says, I thought Hayden Christensen will be good as Shadow, but Keanu Reeves is awesome. Even Chicken on the Stick is like, Keanu Reeves as Shadow is wild. And Marcelino says Keanu Reeves had a voice role in Toy Story 4, and he was pretty good in that. I forgot he had a role in number 4.
Same, but I totally forgot about that.
But I think this is absolutely perfect. Look, I'm not gonna say that Keanu Reeves knows a great script when he sees one, because he's been in some terrible movies in his past time. But he probably is a big fan of the Sonic franchise, and I think he clearly sees the box office continuing to rise, and he's like, I want to get attached to that. But I'm pretty sure he probably saw a great script and was like, yeah, I think my voice could really add to just this franchise and this character even more. Now, if you're gonna tell me after this movie's release, if we're gonna get a Shadow limited series on Paramount Plus starring Keanu Reeves, that would be even bigger news to me, even more bananas. Because one, I never even expected Idris Elba to come back to even do more Knuckles, to be quite frank with you. But I think it just goes to show you how much fun they're truly having with this franchise and how much fun the fans are really eating this all up. And kudos for them for casting these people, because again, I don't think anybody expected Idris Elba to be Knuckles. I think people were pretty pumped about that when he joined. And you mentioned something, Stuart, that this is like fan casting 101.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what Sonic and the franchise has done well is they have listened to their fans. I griped a little bit about the idea of, like, when they first released the Sonic design, it was awful. Even I knew it was awful, and the fans were like, you got to redesign it, you got to redesign it. And it was part of me is just like, there are sometimes elements where I'm just like, you shouldn't listen to the fans. If you have a vision for the character, do your vision. But in this case, yeah, definitely, I'm so glad that they listened to the fans and wind up changing the design of Sonic, because it's been incredible to certainly see. But it just goes to show you that they're very open to hearing from their fans, and they probably knew that. I don't know if people were already fan casting Keanu Reeves as Shadow, but they definitely knew what their fans certainly wanted here. And the fact that they were able to land him, I think, speaks volumes to just where this franchise has come, and really probably what the script certainly is. And I wouldn't be surprised if Keanu Reeves is a big fan of this franchise so far. Yeah, I don't know if he has any kids or not. If anybody knows if Keanu Reeves has any kids, but maybe he's doing this one for his children, if he's got any. But I don't think he does. But yeah, he looks like he's ready to have some fun here, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, especially actually I didn't think of that if they introduce Rogan and Amy. I think that would be like a really funny dynamic to have in this movie, especially if they bring in Amy, because she very much would be the full polar opposite of Shadow the Hedgehog. Essentially, she's very much a basically a hedgehog who is super, super in love with Sonic the Hedgehog, and she's very much like, if I remember correctly, she very much has like a really big heart, because like her whole quest in Sonic Adventure is like trying to protect a bird. So it would be kind of cool to see like that kind of dynamic. What would the word be? The contrast between her and Shadow if she ends up being in the movie.
Oh, that would be pretty interesting. Yeah. We'll see if there's any other casting announcements eventually revealed here soon. I'm trying to see if the article revealed the video game feature set to release December 20th. So this is going to be a big holiday time film, which is probably even better for Sonic, honestly. I think it's probably going to be pretty opposite of some of the other themes and tones of maybe some of the other films that dropped that year. So I think that's probably a really great release schedule for them. But let's know your thoughts, guys. Fan casting in the making, Keanu Reeves as Shadow. We want to know your thoughts. Are you surprised? Does this make perfect sense to you? Can you picture Shadow's voice already in your head when you close your eyes? I definitely want to know your guys' thoughts in the comment section box below.
And this, gives me more hope that my really terrible spin-off movie will happen, which is basically just remake the Shadow the Hedgehog video game from 2005. But live action. It would be a terrible movie, but one that I would pay a lot of money to see.
Yeah, absolutely, man. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts in the comment section box below. And with that, Stuart, I think that will wrap up all of our main topics for the day. Are you ready to tackle some live viewer questions with me?
Always.
Let's get into our last segment of the day, y'all.
And now, everybody, it is time for live viewer questions.
And we're going to get into our live viewer questions segment. For those of you who are wondering in the future, how do I submit a live viewer question? It's pretty simple. Let me go ahead and pull this up here for you guys. Just go over to our YouTube channel, as you see right here, main page. Click on that community tab. And usually on Saturdays or Saturday evenings, we will drop a live viewer question post, as you see here. So we've got 9 comments. We'll see if they're all 9 questions or not. But we'll go ahead and sort this out, and then we'll go ahead and tackle your guys' live viewer questions. A couple things real quick. Let's set that up, and then let's put on some background music too for a little bit here. Okay. That's too loud, y'all. All right. Starting first, we got Blossom. What's up, Blossom? She says.
So the music, I don't know if it's just on my end, but the music is kind of cutting off your voice. I'm assuming like your microphone only allows like kind of one sound to go through at a time.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now though? Okay, or no?
Okay, now you're good. Now you're good.
Now I'm good. Okay.
Yeah.
If you still have problems with it, let me know. I lowered it down a little bit, so maybe that helps.
Oh yeah.
Blossom, what's up, fellas? I know I brought this up a lot lately, but remember how I thought having some current unadapted Sentai B Rangers imagined by different people, maybe as they imagined them as kids, their belief in Power Rangers somehow brought them to life. How's that? I kind of dig that. The power of imagination, bringing the things that you imagine to life. I think that's pretty neat. It kind of reminds me of like don't they have like a movie about imaginary friends that's coming out recently
with Ryan Reynolds,
If that's what kind of reminds me of. But maybe as they imagine them as kids, their belief in the Power Rangers somehow brought them to life. I kind of dig that concept, actually.
I feel like that concept would work really well with Kira Major. Especially given that like most of the Zora designs come from like the drawings that the Red Ranger comes up with.
Yeah, I dig that. What did you guys think of X-Men 97 when Storm got her powers back? Epic or what? Almost like how I imagine MMPR's theme reversing the spell and making the team Imaginatrix stronger. Did you have the opportunity to check out the recent episode of X-Men 97?
Yes, that was an awesome moment. And my fiance and I were watching the episode together, and because she has the classic like black outfit from the comic books, when we see her like flying with it, we're both just like smash.
Yeah, I'm so glad that they gave her the classic costume. I wasn't sure where they were gonna if they were gonna revert back to her old costume or not from the 90s, because it was like all white one, I believe. But yeah, the fact that they went back to her classic X-Men comic book costume, I thought was pretty badass. And you know what, I did read, I can't remember what interview it was. I don't know if it was Bo DeMeo, the showrunner, or somebody else talked about it, but they said that the scene, what inspired that sequence for Storm when she gets her powers back and she's flying. They said that scene was actually inspired by Man of Steel.
Oh, I could see that.
When she's taking off for the first time, like his first flight, and you see him going through the caves and around all the rocks and through the fields and whatnot. So I definitely got those vibes. Almost the music was almost on point too from Hans Zimmer's Superman. But I love the fact that they took inspiration from that scene. It definitely worked.
That is pretty awesome. Also, we got another super chat from Blossom. Thank you so much.
You had to mention my sweet Babu, didn't you? Yeah, she loves herself some Kira Major, man. Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate the super chat. But I always dug that idea from Kira Major of him being an artist and being able to bring anything that he draws to life. I always thought that's such a badass power for him to have.
I also love that like kind of forced responsibility that he had of like his we've seen kids as Rangers before, but we've never seen like kids that have to like lead older Rangers essentially like that, and especially like older Rangers who clearly like are experienced in their field. Like that's the kind of pressure that would be like really challenging to have.
Yeah, I totally agree. But yeah, that's what makes makes that series so appealing to me.
Mm-hmm.
Chicken on a Stick also says not just If, but Imaginary, which is in fact a horror movie. I have seen the
That one,
poster.
that's right.
I have seen posters for Imaginary, but I haven't had the opportunity to see the film yet. Oh, I wonder when it drops. Doomsday, what's up, Doomsday? Do you find it a little odd sometimes certain Power Rangers are shorter or taller than their teammates, but then suddenly when they morph, the height sporadically changes? Not counting Justin, though, he was a little kid ranger. Yeah,
No. It's called the Morphin Grid. It morphs you. That's the whole thing. That's always been my headcanon. That is why Doggy Kruger can fit his giant nostril in a mouse. That's why what was his name? Deathbird or Darkwing, something like that. Was also the one from from Dino Charge.
Dino Charge.
Yeah, that's why the giant bird costume was able to fit into a morphin suit. That's why Justin is as tall as the other Rangers. It morphs your body, basically. That's always been my headcanon.
I dig it. Yeah, to me, it's just lazy casting, but not lazy casting, but just like the idea of just not giving an F. You know, it's like, hey, this is just a stunt, dude. Who cares? Nobody's gonna notice it, but yet every fan notices it. Blossom again with the another super chat. Thank you so much, Blossom. You're spoiling us today, man. You're spoiling us. She said, I love that about Juro 2, Kakihara. she absolutely hates the Kakihara character from Q Ranger. She was a B. I won't lie. I wasn't a fan of hers either.
Okay, Xenowing was his name.
Oh yeah, Sam and Marcelino got you there.
Yeah.
Thanks for the heads up. Which non-PR Sentai team would you adapt, and how would you adapt it? Which non-Power Rangers Sentai team?
I would go with Q Ranger, and I already made like a whole video on how I would adapt it, but basically I would involve a lot of Greek mythology in it. I would also probably in retrospect, like originally I had this whole idea where if I were to adapt it, it'd be for like the 30th anniversary. But given that is already passed, I would say in this particular version, the one thing I would change is I'd probably just have it all take place in the Andromeda Galaxy. So it wouldn't be going to Earth too much. It would be, the base would be on an Earth-like planet. But that way I could just, have a lot of fun and not have to worry too much about, ruining continuity with other seasons.
I like it, man. I like it. I'll stick with your answer since you had the great breakdown of how you would adapt it. If I had to pick another team though that wasn't adapted, I still want to see Kara Major adapted. I don't think it's ever going to happen, but if I had to choose, I would. Kara Major would probably be my first that I want to see adapted. How do you prefer Power Rangers to do body swaps? The voices switching with them, or the actors simply acting like each other?
Actors acting like each other. That was okay. I think that Beast Morphers episode with Steel and Nate would have been so much funnier, much funnier if they just kept their actual voices. I think them switching the voices just made it not as good as it could have been.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. Yeah, we're on the same boat there. Tony, what's up, Tony? If Jonathan Entwistle decided to adapt one of the new Ranger teams from the comics for his Netflix series, which one would you guys want to see?
I guess the first one, because like I haven't been keeping it up with the comics, so I'm not sure what new ones they've introduced. But I mean, I would love to see a live action adaptation of the Omega Rangers.
Yeah, that would be pretty dope. I don't know if I would, maybe not from the comics, but I wouldn't mind somebody tackling Hyperforce.
Oh, yes.
I think that'd be pretty fun. I think they've popped up in the comic books before, at least maybe as like cameos. But I wouldn't mind Hyperforce being adapted. Do you guys think Superman, Peacemaker Season 2, and Supergirl will all come out in 2025?
I don't think Supergirl will. I think that's coming out 26. I think it'd be not the smartest financial decision to have two supers in the same year.
I was going to ask because there are talks that, I mean, look, we've got a writer attached. We've got a director attached. We have our Supergirl now officially. I feel like Supergirl is coming along rather quickly. There have been some speculation that Supergirl may get in front of the camera towards the tail end of 2024. So I definitely don't think it's meeting the 2025 release date. I definitely do think that's going to be a 2026 film. So I don't think they're all going to come out in 2025. But if anything, I would be really curious as to like what else comes out in 2025. Is Superman going to be the sole movie that releases? Peacemaker 2 is probably going to be dropping 2025. I don't know when Waller is going to be getting into production either. So I do wonder if Superman that drops in July is going to be the only film ready to go. But I do believe he's got some completed scripts for other projects. James Gunn just hasn't announced them yet. But I am fascinated with the idea of Supergirl getting ready to maybe be in front of cameras by the end of this year. And if that's true, there's a part of me that wonders, like, is that going to be the next film right afterwards? And it does make me wonder, even if it is separated, is it a good idea to your second film to be Supergirl right after Superman? I am fascinated to see how James Gunn will release this.
Yeah, the way I think if I was a betting man, I would assume the Authority will probably come out first. But yeah, I think I also wouldn't like be super surprised if Supergirl came out before the Authority. It would just be a very interesting decision to have one super movie and then the next DC movie is also a super. But I can say pretty confidently, like, obviously we're probably getting Superman this year, assuming that there aren't going to be any delays. And I think there's a good chance we'll get Peacemaker season 2 this year.
Yeah, they are filming right now, so we'll see. Maybe that will be something that releases by the end of the year. Marcelino does say the Authority was supposed to be the second DC film to be released. Yeah, I mean, as far as films, that's how James Gunn initially announced it. But he has said recently that some projects may get into development before others, and so I am kind of curious if how he announced it, if that is like storyline wise how they need to be released, or can he switch it up and release whatever he certainly wants to. I think Lanterns is probably pretty close to being ready, if as far as like script and everything's ready to go. So I don't know, we'll see. Hopefully James Gunn clarifies some things, maybe this upcoming San Diego Comic-Con, or if I don't think they're going to do a DC fandom again, but he's got plenty of opportunities to announce some things. But we'll see what's next. Mm-hmm. Tony Robinson says, what other Marvel characters do you want to see show up in X-Men 97? They've had some great cameos, especially on Genosha. Nightcrawler was really nice. I thought somebody said, or I thought I heard somewhere that Captain America might pop up.
Yeah, he has he been in? I can't remember. He was definitely in Spider-Man.
I believe he was in. I believe he was in X-Men in the '90s series.
Yeah, I would love to see Captain Marvel come back in the series at some point. And then, because they're in space now, I also wouldn't mind seeing like the Guardians of the Galaxy make their debut in this universe.
Oh, that would be pretty cool. I wouldn't mind getting an opportunity to kind of see that. Who was it? It wasn't the Starjammers. Was that Cyclops' father on that team? But that's not the team that we just saw in this episode, right? The Starjammers?
No,
right? So. Maybe the Starjammers would be pretty cool. Because I wouldn't mind to see Cyclops' father, especially now during everything that's going on with him losing his son and all the trauma he's dealing with and stuff, the emotional, maybe a good father-son talk,
Definitely.
Bring Sabretooth in X-Men 97.
We did have morph as Sabretooth for a brief moment.
Yes, sure, we did. Let's see here. Who's next?
Okay, sorry, this is super random. I do find it funny. So Deadpool himself has never been in the X-Men series, but we've still seen Deadpool, just not Deadpool. Just we've seen Morph disguising himself as Deadpool a couple of times. So Deadpool's another character who could show up in this show at some point.
Yeah, that's surprising to me. Yeah, he's a hot commodity right now. We better get in this film, in this series for sure. Let's see here. Who else we got? Marcelino. Here's how I would fix the fight between Supergirl and Superman in the season 2 finale. In my version, the fight plays out the same, but Superman easily overpowers Supergirl until Alex comes in and saves Supergirl by using non-lethal kryptonite on Superman to weaken him, which then allows Supergirl to deliver the final blow and knocks out Superman. This would have showcased Superman's power without making him look weak, while also raising the stakes for Supergirl, since it shows she's still inexperienced and only won because of outside help and dumb luck. I remember enjoying the Supergirl and Superman season 2 finale. But what do you think, Stuart? Would you have had Superman win and Supergirl only win from outside help and dumb luck, like a WWE match?
I mean, I might have had it a little bit differently. I think the only thing I would majorly change about it is what happens like outside of the fight. Because I think that was what annoyed a lot of Superman fans. It wasn't like the fight itself. I think it was just the fact that afterwards you had Superman constantly being like, "Whoa, my cousin is so much stronger than me. Hey guys, did you guys notice how stronger my cousin is?"
Did you guys see that?
Yeah, my cousin is so much better than I am. That was when it was just like, okay, guys, I get it, but like, because I have nothing against like the idea of Supergirl being stronger than Superman, right? But like, I don't know, there was just something
two on
weird.
the nose, just broadcasting this to the world.
Exactly. There was just something about the way they wrote it, specifically with the way they constantly had like Superman himself, like saying it over and over, really wanting to implant it in your head. There was just something about that just I thought was weird, you know?
Yeah, I totally get you. There's a part of me that would agree with you there. I think maybe the added commentary probably wasn't necessarily needed. Like, we get the point. But wasn't Superman mind controlled, right?
Yeah.
And for me, anytime it comes to mind control, there's a part of me that feels like we're not seeing these characters at their strongest. Like there's a weakness still to them because they aren't using sort of like their free will. Like, I think if this was like a knockout brawl sort of thing and Clark had all of his common sense and whatnot, you know, maybe the fight would have gone differently. So there's a part of me that thinks the idea of him being mind controlled is sort of that aspect that adds a weakness to Superman, because he's technically not able to tap into certain aspects of himself that I think would allow him to kind of overcome things in battle. So I think that's the component there that maybe weakens Superman for me. So, you know, to each their own in regards to how they would have had that version or their vision for that particular scene. But I don't know if I would have Superman easily overpower Supergirl. I wouldn't have minded if it really came down to like just a all-out even brawl, and then maybe, you know, she barely gets the upper hand sort of thing to pull it out. But when I look at it, instead of it being non-lethal kryptonite, I think the kryptonite is the mind control in here that kind of weakens Superman from being in his fullest ability, though. That's how I kind of viewed it.
Yeah, I think overall, like, fans just wouldn't have been annoyed by this if it wasn't for the fact that Superman has like such a huge like legacy behind him. I think like in a standalone show, like if Supergirl, this is our first time being introduced to her as a character, and we're aware that there's just this guy named Superman that people just know of, and he's apparently more famous than her. I think no one would have had an issue with that. But of course, you know, this is the real world where Superman, you know, it's existing comic books for so long. And I think that's what like upset a lot of fans about the way that was all written.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, Marcelino says, you know, the mind control should have enraged to become stronger into thinking since she thought he was Zod. Or he thought she was Zod, so
yeah,
I think maybe he'd be putting his best foot forward. But you know, I get you, Marcelino. I get you. I know you guys were campaigning for Lex Luthor to become president at the end of Supergirl, and I do like that idea, but I don't like it for a series finale. Lex was a major character in the series, so having him become the president at the end of the series so future stories could be told in the Arrowverse comes across as an unresolved plot line and would have soured the finale, knowing that one of the villains wins while our heroes lose. I don't know if I wanted him at the end of the series. I think I was calling for that at the end of the season just prior to that.
Yeah, it was season 5 that I wanted him to be president, because then you could have had him still as like a main villain, not just for Supergirl, but you could also have him as a small, like minor villain in all the other shows. And then, of course, I don't like the idea of villains winning in the end. Of course, I would want him to be put in his place by the end of the season.
Yeah, but I thought it would be an interesting wrinkle for the last season if he was the president that season. But I was thinking the direction that they were going to go was Lex Luthor for at least by the end of the 5th season, so that we at least got one season of him sort of as president. So yeah, not for the series finale itself. Yeah, because I don't want to leave those loose threads. I don't believe for a second that the reason Legends of Tomorrow changed its tone is because of budget. Not only does Legends do a lot of expensive CGI and practical work in its more comedic seasons, but also I have seen tons of other low budget shows, and they didn't let the budget dictate the story they wanted to tell. They usually work around the budget by saving money for big events, such as having the characters take center stage while not doing anything expensive. Other arguments I've heard that I have an easier time believing while Legends changed includes that this is what fans advocated for. The fans wanted the show to become a sitcom parody of itself, having fun with time travel and not take itself too seriously. Another argument was that the writers didn't want to write a superhero show, and that over time they slowly changed the show's tone so that they could write a show with the type of genre they wanted to write. Do you agree or disagree?
If I ever said the budget was the only reason, I misspoke. I said what I should have said was that the budget was a factor. There were definitely other reasons why they ended up changing it. The main thing that I hear from an interview with Katie Lotz is during the filming of season 1, they actually didn't even have a showrunner, and also during season 1 they expected it to be an anthology series, so like it would be a whole new cast and crew every season, so it wasn't even meant to go past like its first season. So when you get to season 2 and you realize, okay, now we have to actually find like a core group that we're going to be sticking with for the whole series, I think that was also a factor. But I still do stand by that. I think budget was a factor. I just, I will, if I said that it was the factor, then I take that back. I will say that it is still a factor in what led to it being the show that it was like later on.
Side comment here, Sam. I watched Superman and Lois season 3, episodes 1 and 2 was brilliant on BBC today.
That's nice. Cool that they're playing it on BBC.
Sam, again, where are you from, Sam? Let me know in the comments where you're from.
It's like, again, it's a show that every time like I'm trying to pitch it to people, like saying you got to give the show like a chance. I'm like, I know CW sounds bad, but I swear it's not like the other Arrowverse shows, because I love Arrowverse, but it's again a franchise I wouldn't suggest to like anyone unless they were like hardcore nerds. It's definitely one of those shows where I'm like, I'm aware this franchise is just made for me, so I will keep that to me. But like yeah, when it comes to Superman and Lois, I'm like, no, this is something everyone needs to check out.
Yeah, even my girlfriend was a pretty big fan of it too. Sam says, I'm in the UK. Very cool, man. International superstar over there. We appreciate you. Johnny, what's up, Johnny? If the new animated Transformers movie is successful, do you think Paramount will do more animated Transformers movies and maybe give Bumblebee his own animated movie? Because he's definitely a fan favorite. Maybe animated series. I think if this one is successful, I could definitely see them doing another Transformers movie. Whether that means they give Bumblebee his own animated movie, I can see them maybe going the Knuckles route and giving him like a limited series fresh off of the animated stuff. But I still think that they want their Transformers live action franchise to continue to expand and grow, especially if you're going to start including the G.I. Joe stuff. So, you know, how many movies do you balance, animated, live action sort of thing? But I think if you're gonna do another animated Transformers movie, I say give Bumblebee maybe a limited series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if I need another Bumblebee solo project. I could definitely see more animated movies if there are sequels to Transformers 1, but I don't necessarily see another reboot movie franchise coming out that's animated.
Who do you think should be the new Pink Ranger for the upcoming PR reboot? For me, it's between Sadie Stanley from the upcoming Karate Kid movie, Malia Baker from the Babysitters Club and Descendants of the Rise of Red, or Sophia Wiley from High School Musical this series. But what do you think? Do you have anybody in mind for your Pink Power Ranger?
Mm.
Man, I don't remember who I fan casted in my Pink Ranger.
Hard to say. I think right now, one actress I could see doing a pretty good job is if you get. I know we keep going back to Cobra Kai, but it's just because Cobra Kai's just like got kind of the perfect, cast of what could be potential Power Rangers. But I think Daniel LaRusso's daughter. I totally forgot her name from Cobra Kai.
I can't stand her ass either.
Really? I mean, well, like acting wise, I think she does a good job. And I could see her easily kind of, because usually the Pink Rangers end up being like kind of the Valley Girl type of Rangers. So I could see her pulling that off pretty well because she did that pretty good in the first season of Cobra Kai, especially.
I'm gonna throw out, and she's been everywhere lately. I don't know if she's gotten too big for a Power Rangers series, but Ariana Greenblatt. I would love to see her play. She played the young Ahsoka. She also played. She was in the Barbie film. She's also going to be seen in Borderlands, I think, as Tina or something like that. Tiny Tina, I think her name is. I can't remember. But I wouldn't mind Ariana Greenblatt because she's been popping up everywhere. Let's see here. If Amy Rose appears in the future Sonic project in the near future. I think she could be voiced by either Isabella Merced or Dove Cameron. What do you think? I like both of them. I haven't seen Isabella Merced is everywhere right now. Fresh off of, she was just in a Scream film. She was just in Madam Web. She's gonna be playing Hawk Girl in the Superman Legacy film.
Oh, her. Okay.
So why not? That'd be pretty cool. She's become a pretty popular name. Dove Cameron, I don't recall seeing her in much of anything, even though I'm sure she's got her fan base. She was supposed to set to star in the Powerpuff Girls live action series before that went kaput. So I'm cool with either or, but Isabella Merced sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. I think either would work really well.
Yeah. Peg C, what's up, Peg C? Hey, Adam and company, hope you're all doing well. Couple of questions. Although I don't see the whole question. Am I missing something? What are your thoughts on VR Troopers when it first came out? What happened to it? I'm sure there's
I got the full question on my end. Actually am a bit. I don't even know if I was born when the VR Troopers came out. So I don't really have childhood memories of it. My first time stumbling upon VR Troopers was when I think this was like my senior year of high school when my friends and I were just drinking some beers and browsing Netflix. And nice. I think we first stumbled upon Beetleborgs and we were getting a good laugh out of that. Okay. And then I think that led us to finding something that says, oh, because you watch Beetleborgs, you might like VR Troopers. And our thoughts on it was hilarious.
I just remember thinking to myself like, "Oh, this is a new take on Power Rangers." I love the suit concept alone. That really did it for me. And I can't lie, I had a little bit of a crush on the female character in here. I can't remember what her name was, but she went on to do some pretty big things as far as like soap opera wise. I remember seeing her years later on, I think it was General Hospital. She wound up popping up on, but one of the soap operas. I thought it was pretty cool for its the virtual reality concept and stuff was cool for its time. But I think initially it was the suits that drew me in for sure. Mm-hmm. How different of a movie do you think it would have been if Robin was introduced in Batman Returns instead of Batman Forever? Man, it would have definitely been a more darker take on the character for sure. I think there probably would have been a more focus on the death of his family, him being an orphan, Bruce kind of taking interest to kind of bringing him in, because Batman Returns was super dark. How you would have included him in a storyline with Catwoman and the Penguin, I definitely don't know, but he definitely would have been a much darker character than he was certainly in Batman Forever.
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad he was introduced in Batman Forever, personally, but yeah, he definitely would have been a completely different character for sure.
You would have had to make a completely different movie, I think, because I just I don't know how you would have fit in the stuff with Catwoman along with Robin, because then you would have had two really complicated side plots for Bruce Wayne to be dealing with. And then also at the end, here's how I could see it working actually. If the conflict wasn't with Catwoman at the end of the movie, if it was with Robin deciding whether or not he wants to be a killer like Catwoman or a hero like Batman, and have it be, you know, kind of the same thing where it's Christopher Walken's character, but instead of him screwing over Catwoman, he screws over Robin. And so Robin's like the one that's like going down that path of I could either turn, you know, good or bad. So something like that. That's how you would have to make it work, I think.
And I also wonder if that would be like a Jason Todd Robin, you know, if they would have changed the script for a Jason Todd, or if they would have changed it for a kept it Dick Grayson. Although I wonder when the Jason Todd comic book series situation happened. I gotta think that was before the Batman Returns movie.
I think, yeah, if it had been Jason Todd, it would have been too, like, I don't know, it wouldn't have been that much different from Dick Grayson at the time, because like, I think if I remember correctly, Jason Todd's backstory before he was kind of brought back as the Red Hood, it was basically the exact same as Dick Grayson. He was literally just Dick Grayson, but just, you know, Dick Grayson was now Nightwing, so Batman needed a Robin. So it wasn't really until he got killed off and then brought back where they rewrote his backstory and they were like, oh no, he was a troubled kid that Batman found, you know, an orphan.
So he wasn't already like on the streets, because when I looked at Jason Todd, he was like yeah, pretty much an orphan. Like his parents had been killed, I believe, and he was stuck on the streets. And I think Batman caught him trying to steal the tires or boost the tires off of the Batmobile, sort of thing. So I thought he was already like a street rat to a certain extent that Bruce brought on.
Yeah, that was the updated origin story. I believe his original origin story was literally just the exact same as Dick Grayson's, where he was a circus kid. If anyone in the comments wants to correct me, though, let me go. Feel free to do so, because I could be remembering that wrong.
What were your initial thoughts on Kevin Nash playing Super Shredder in TMNT Secrets of the Ooze? You know, I don't think that's something that I realized until I was like an adult. It definitely felt like it was one of those movie trivia questions that I did not know about originally, and then eventually, as I saw it, I still don't see it. I mean, it's cool that he's in it, but he's wearing so much like foam padding, you know, just for the muscles and whatnot. I think they definitely use Kevin Nash very much for the height of Super Shredder for sure. But initially, I mean, I thought it was a pretty cool little cameo, but you can barely tell it's even Kevin Nash, though. So
I didn't even know it was Kevin Nash until just now. That's
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's one of those things, those tidbits of like Easter egg information that it took years for me to eventually find out. So yeah, there you go.
I can tell you, as a kid, I was like, oh, Super Shredder, now it's really going to hit the fan. And then he just kills himself by knocking the dog. So I was like, oh.
I was like, oh, this yeah, I was like, oh man, this movie's going to get longer. Like another battle. Oh snap. Like I was pretty hyped for Super Shredder, and then highly disappointed.
Like you survived a compact trash can in the previous movie. Like, we see it crush you, and so now that wasn't enough to kill you, but a bunch of pieces of wood like falling on you. Apparently, that's enough to kill you when you're stronger. Okay,
you're stronger, yeah. I don't ask questions as a kid, but yeah. Jessica Friedman, would you like to see Hasbro reboot one of the Power Rangers spin-offs? Would you like to see Hasbro reboot one of the Power Rangers spin-off shows, like maybe VR Troopers or Mystic Knights of Tarnog? And when do you think Power Rangers reboot will finally get the casting and filming stage? I'm hoping, from what I remember from Jinsaku, that they're hoping to start getting all that stuff in the last half of the year, so like November, December of 2024, because you have to remember we do have the Karate Kid movie that's set to drop this December, so I fully expect Jonathan Entwistle to be pretty heavy in that, especially when it comes to like the marketing and promoting of the film. Maybe he can balance the marketing and promoting of the Karate Kid while also fine-tuning things for Power Rangers before the casting and filming stage begins. But if I had to take a guess as to when filming would begin, I would probably say like November or December of this year, or at least us getting casting announcements. As far as like what other reboot from this Power Ranger spinoff, anything you would like to see Hasbro reboot, Stuart?
Dude, I would love a Mystic's Night reboot, because it was such a, I don't know, it was a show that I feel like had potential, because of like just like not only from the cool costume designs, but I even think the story was pretty unique, taking straight from Irish mythology. That was awesome. I have no idea what like actual characters from Irish mythology actually appear in there, but I've always loved the character of Cuchulainn, or Cuchulainn, however his name is pronounced. So if they ever wanted to bring him into like a show like Knights of Tir na Nog, I think that would be great. So if I had to choose, Tir na Nog would be my choice. The Mystic Knights of Tir na Nog.
Sam's going with Masked Rider. Another shot of that would be interesting. I know I've seen some people really want a Kamen Rider American adaptation, so I'm not mad at that. And I've said this before, and I'm sticking to it. VR Troopers, man. VR Troopers. We're such in a gaming age this time around. Our generation is being brought up all on VR gaming. It's huge with the Oculuses and stuff. I mean, hell, they even have a virtual reality like arcade out here in Fort Worth where you can get like a group of your buddies and go. You know what I'm saying? Go
like
to
like the Veil, like what's that called? Like the Void or the Veil, something like that.
Yeah. But it's like, you know, you could get a party of 5 or more and go into like these big rooms and just have these VR sessions sort of thing. So I just think where we're at gaming wise, where we're at technology wise, I think the concept of VR Troopers would be a hit, man. I would love to see what they can do. Just give me a 3-person team. I don't need you to go 5 like Power Rangers. Just do something significantly different, but give me a reboot of VR Troopers, man. I think it's a prime opportunity right now.
That would be pretty sick.
Sam, what's up, Sam? Ghost Rider might be coming in the MCU. We don't know who's playing Ghost Rider. My thoughts on Keanu Reeves or Norman Reedus from The Walking Dead. You know whose name I have been seeing in for Ghost Rider for quite some time is Ryan Gosling.
Ooh, okay.
I've been hearing. I can't remember if it was him himself saying that he'd be open to playing a Ghost Rider, or if there's other people just fan casting him. But I think Ryan might have some interest. I think there might have been an interview or report out there where he might have name dropped it. But I would be cool with the idea of Ghost Rider coming to the MCU. There's even speculation that this Blade movie might open up the doors for like a Midnight Sun, either special presentation or a Midnight Suns film, where you could sort of include a lot of those horror aspects, and maybe that's where we get something like a brand new Ghost Rider. I think Ghost Rider is certainly overdue, to be quite frank with you. I mean, we almost came close to a Ghost Rider series, if you guys remember. It's set to be played by Gabriel Reyes, I believe his name was. I could be wrong. From the he played the Ghost Rider in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show that was going to go ahead and get made before they decided to do the whole it's all connected when it comes to the MCU going forward. But yeah, Ghost Rider is long overdue. But I've heard both of those names suggested, Sam. Keanu Reeves, Norman Reedus. Do you have a preference, Stuart?
I would go with Norman Reedus only because, like, I remember when the Punisher series came out on Netflix, that was like the big rumor at the time, was that Norman Reedus was going to be making a cameo as Johnny Cage. Obviously, never happened, but ever since then, I was like, I want this. I really want this.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool, man. Gabriel Luna. Thank you. I said Gabriel Reyes, but it's Gabriel Luna. Was the actor. Robbie Reyes was the Ghost Rider. Yeah, and Gabriel Luna was also one of the Terminators in Dark Fate, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he was the Terminator assassin in that movie.
Yeah, so he had a lot of great momentum behind him. So I was really looking forward to seeing his take on Ghost Rider. But yeah, MCU definitely needs itself a Ghost Rider. I honestly, I would say it don't even need to be connected to the MCU. Just give me a Ghost Rider series or a movie right now. I would absolutely eat it up. But yeah, let us know your guys' thoughts as to who you personally would like to see as a Ghost Rider and what version of the character you'd like to see. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section box below. But that will do it. Let me just refresh this page. But I do believe that is all the comments for today. Yeah, thank you so much, guys, for everybody participating in the live viewer question segment this week. Always love getting your questions and hearing your conversations of topic. But yeah, that will do it. Let me go ahead and stop this music, y'all.
Oh, this wouldn't surprise me if we got Nicolas Cage coming back during Secret Wars. Just because, yeah, we've been hearing so many different like actors that they're trying to get back, like from Tobey Maguire to Hugh Jackman to even Lou Ferrigno. So
Wow.
I'm curious how much they're actually going to be able to accomplish with Secret Wars.
Yeah, I guess my worry would be, man, is it going to be a muddled mess? Are they really going to nail it, sort of thing? I just hope that the story is certainly there. That's really what it's going to come down to me for me.
The big thing too is if they do end up going with a big cast, like to make it seem like it's going to be like Endgame, but like multiversal. The thing that'll disappoint a lot of fans is seeing like Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider appearing and then just immediately transforming into Ghost Rider, not having a single line, just having some cool action scenes. I mean, we've seen how fans reacted to that with when the Flash did that, and I feel like it's going to be kind of the same thing with Secret Wars if they go that same direction. So my thing is that I hope that in Secret Wars, the characters, the actors that they choose for those characters, I'm hoping they actually have a role and they're not just there for, as James Gunn put it, cameo porn.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can probably even say the same thing about um what was it? The Doctor Strange 2.
Mm-hmm.
A ton of cameos, but maybe not necessarily handled extremely well.
I feel like that was the movie he was referring to that interview. He just didn't want to say it out loud because he's too, he's a nice guy. I don't think he's the kind of person that would throw anyone particular under the bus.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. But yeah, so we'll see how Secret Wars turns out. I think the Deadpool 3 movie is supposed to have some pretty interesting cameos also. I mean, there's still the rumor going around of like, is Taylor Swift going to be in? If Taylor Swift is going to be Dazzler in that film. I've seen some things in regards to that as well. So, man, my StreamYard keeps freezing on me here, man. Can you take down the live viewer question tab for me?
Oh, I sure can.
Yeah, it keeps freezing on my
Oh,
end.
what the heck?
So not doing it for you either.
Oh no, I was looking at the wrong one. My bad.
Oh no, you're good. There we go. Yeah, it's like every time I try and close out of this, it gives me problems. But all right, guys. I think other than that, I think that's going to do it for today's show. We appreciate you guys certainly coming through each and every week. We definitely will be back live next weekend for you guys as well. So make sure to certainly tune in and subscribe to us over on YouTube if you haven't done so as of yet. So you make sure you get notifications anytime we're ready to go ahead and go live. Stuart, if people want to find you on social media, man, where can they find you, sir?
You guys can find me at TurboStew01 over on Instagram.
And guys, if you want to follow us on social media, as you can see anywhere down here below at APlus Opinions, we're also on TikTok right now at Hero Report. Check us out over there as well. If you like Discord forum communities, we do have a Discord. There is a link in the description box below. Feel free to join us there if you'd like to as well. I have to check that link, make sure that link still works as far as an invite goes. But I'll double check that. We're also wherever you listen to your audio podcasts on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you certainly find it at APlus Hero Report. And again, follow us at APlus Opinions everywhere on social media. Facebook is usually where we keep you guys up to date throughout the week. We drop news articles there, trailers, discussion videos, posters, images. And then what we usually do is pick our top 6 articles from there throughout the week to go ahead and talk about them here with you guys. So definitely follow us everywhere. But that will wrap it up for us here today at APlus Hero Report. Until then, do us a big favor as always, guys. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. We'll see you guys later. Bye.